did I actually make this public this time? Holy crap, there's actually like 5 people and a like already here. Okay, I clearly made it public this time. Now last time, this wobble went away. I think this wobble is just because I recently moved the arm. Oh yeah. So... as long as nobody throws up for the next couple minutes, I'll see what I can do to sort out the wobble and keep the fan running so that the phone doesn't give me an overheat warning like last time. That was weird! Now, where... This is new. Okay, the live streaming interface looks different than the last time I looked at it. I want to go find the link. Here it is. Oh, it refreshed itself. What a lovely thing! Now I can go and get my link. And I can pop out the chat. Alright, I don't want to see top chat. I want to see all chat because I hate myself. And then I want to pop this out. Apparently there's a new window for super chat. I still don't entirely understand what that is other than... gimme money. Let's see. Alright, I got this open. I'm gonna blow up this chat. I said I'm gonna... do what I tell you. Alright. What? Why is this not working? It's usually... Oh, here we go. Here we go! Ah! Yeah! Alright. Now I need to find the link. These opening minutes of these streams, in my opinion... IMO, as they say, are my favorite part. Because they're just where everything's all, you know, a bonkers old mess. Alright, this is the link to the stream. So, let's pop over to Twits. Shtream live right now. Come in here if you want to shred. Control V. Tweet! My tweet was sent. Alright. Ah. Uh-oh. This video appears to be frozen. That's weird. Can you hear me? I wonder if you can actually hear me. Clearly you heard me talk about the wobble. Oh, that's weird. You can hear me. Oh, the health is good. Then why is the image on my little camera here? Can you see the glass I put in front of the booster box? That's the next question. Yeah, try putting some in front of the box. I did. That's why I thought something was wrong. That's weird. It says stream health good. That's also weird. So has anyone ever streamed on their phone and had the video feed stop? Because that hasn't happened to me before. So I'm gonna, I'll try pushing some buttons. Yeah, all these filters are doing nothing. This is new to me. Do I just, like, stop the stream and start it again? This is a new error. Treading new... Whoa! Now what's going on? I've frozen the app. Alright, we're gonna... we're gonna do this the old... Yeah, there it is. Alright. I think I figured out what was up. When I force quit out of YouTube, you know, on a phone, force quit, because I went to close the window of little filter thingies, and then the entire app froze. So, I figured I'll do the double tap, click, click, and then I'll do the swipe up. It took like 5 seconds for YouTube to close, and then when I went back in, it said, do you want to resume your stream, as I was hoping it would, and it's like, yes, I would. And then it said rotate your device. So I think what happened is the gyroscopeter in here got itself confused, and then the phone thought it had flipped over, and somehow that broke the entire stream. So there you go. That's what you get when you stream on a phone, like a small timer. I have a camera but I'm streaming on a phone. That's just how we roll. Yeah, this is my nice. This is actually my really tall glass. But oh, this thing's gonna drip. This thing's gonna drip. How do I show you? Hang on. This can go up. Yeah. I got a metal straw because I'm a monster. It's a stainless steel straw. Came with a cleaning brush. It was all I wanted for my birthday, and no one got it for me, so I ordered it myself. I put it at the top of the Amazon wish list and everything. Everyone went right past it. Well, like, playing cards, dice, all more expensive than the stainless steel straw. The appeal of metal straws, basically, are you get the fun of sipping on a straw. The thing about sipping on a straw that's nice is it makes you drink the drink less fast. And also, it means you can use ice cubes without them bumping against your face like a monster. And then there's also the environment thing, which is a nice bonus. The other nice thing about metal straws is if you have ice in the glass, the metal straw will take on the temperature of the ice, and then you have a nice chilly straw that stays chilly with your drink. Any cards I'm open to pull? Yes, so there's a reason. Oh, we got the wibble again. Ignore the wibble. I suspect the wobble is because I was just moving this armature around. I suspect the wobble will go away after a little while. But I have a couple cards I'm open to pull because I've decided I like this game a lot, so I want to make a battle box. Also, this game just came out in Canada today, and I was hemming and hawing on getting a booster box, and then I thought, like, okay, the one store I talked to who was getting boosters in were getting like 3 booster boxes, and I thought, well, it would be kind of garbage of me to buy up a third of the local scene to make battle boxes. So then Harry Tarantula was like, we have like 12 booster boxes. So I thought, okay, well then I'm not harming the scene at all, and also it's 120 Canadian, and that's a real darn nice price. And I just was working a bunch, and instead of saving money, I decided I would undergo this. Then I went to pick this up, and they got singles there. They got singles of some of the cards I'm looking for, but I also got traders. So I want to shred this to see if any of the ones I'm looking for are in here, and then I'll know whether or not I want to trade for... It all makes sense, trust me. I also have a couple decks I'm trying to build I want to build dedicated copies of Storm Chopper and Shadow Play, and my Plains deck, Aerial Misdirection. I got plans. I got plans. I'll show you my battle box later. It's one of them quivers. So, this is still... Okay, I'm still seeing the wibble. I'm still seeing this. So I'm guessing you're all still seeing that. Can I put the fan on a coaster? So I remember at some point the fan stopped causing the wobble, and I don't know what all evened it out. Alright, so that calms it down a bit. That's at level 2. Level 3. Level 4! Okay, we'll go to level 3 for now. Oh, I covered up the stream over on my big monitor. Ha! Black Hawk Omega, I haven't looked at anything for Heisei Generations Forever yet. I'm still at the point where I've convinced myself / deluded myself I'm gonna go into that movie blind in like 8 months when the Blu-ray comes out. Excuse my lungs. I just had some pizza, which leaves a whole bunch of grease in my throat, and I have this thing. My mom has it too. When we have greasy food, for the next like 20 minutes, we tend to get a lot of that phlegm, a lot of what some people have called the throat butter, which is an awfully disgusting way to talk about it. Alright, Comrade Kiva, I'm not really into card games, and all my friends are into Magic. Do you think this would be a good introduction to card games for someone who isn't into most card games? I think so, because this game was designed to be 8-year-old simple, and not in the you're dumb way, but in the this is just a solid game engine kind of way. So, the way this game works is very literal. A lot of other games tend to be quite literal, but with ceilings. This game doesn't really have a ceiling on its literality. So I think this might be a good one. The main thing is, you gotta find people who want to play it with you. That's really the problem. Have I messed with Metroplex yet? I haven't played Metroplex yet, but I have a Metroplex. I found a top loader for him. Anyway. The consistency of fine Jesus! I can't remember where I heard throat butter, but I remember thinking that's probably the worst thing I've ever heard. And it's also real true. What a load of junk, right? Anyway, let's get this sleeving off of here. Oh, oh, thanks, Wizards. You ruined my MISB. What did you do to me when you shrink wrapped this? The shrink wrap, by the way, does seem like it was like all the glued bits are tight and sealed. So I don't think this is opened and re-shrink wrapped. Anyway, as was mentioned the last time I did one of these, there's a lot of waste, and don't worry, I recycle it all. I'm a recycle boy. All my water's recycle, all my food is recycle. Everything that comes out goes back in. What? Where would I recommend getting a booster box? Depends where you live. If you're in Canada, then please support your local friendly game store. If you're in the States, then, like, I don't care about y'all's economy, so buy it wherever it's cheapest. Yeah, Barricade 64, if you have no one to play with locally, it's kind of a wall you're going to run into. There are ways to play this online. There's the complicated way with the physical cards where you set up a webcam and play over a webcam with someone. Which I have never tried. And then there's a thing called Octagon, OCTGN, where you can load this game into it and play it over the internet. I have not tried that either. But the couple channels on YouTube, all the names just flew out of my head. I know there's some gameplay video on Octagon with this game up there. So, what I'm looking for, characters I'm looking for. I need RC, I need Grimlock, and I need Megatron Living Weapons. Those are the 3 rares I'm looking for. Where's my Google Doc? I got a Google Doc! With all my needs in it. Yeah, so over here, you can't see it, but I have a number of battle cards I'm looking for so that I can have some of my favorite decks just exist in perpetuity outside of my usual brewing collection. Is the fancy pants words for it. I like brewing in this game a lot. And also, bear in mind, when I heap praise on this game, there are 2 biases. A, I just got back into tabletopping this spring, so this is all still very fresh and fun to me. B, I really like Transformers, so that bias is inherent. And then, actually, there's a third one. I thought a Transformers card game was probably not going to be very good, and this ended up being quite good. So, there's a lot of biases going on here. Alright, let's see in the chat. I don't have Grimlock. How pathetic. They have all 3 of the characters I'm looking for at Harry Tarantula, but they looked at TCG players, so they know the prices. So I know I could trade for them, but I want to know what I got. Also, I liked doing this stream last time, and I got comments saying it was so nice that you opened the cards and actually knew what the cards were for. So I'm going to try to give you some commentary on the cards. That's a common Bumblebee. So common Bumblebee, I've not done much with yet. I've played with the super rare Bumblebee in my piercing rubber deck. I like making up deck names. That's one of my favorite things. I haven't used this Bumblebee yet. Where do I recommend getting a booster box if you're only in the US and have to go to Poland for a while? Right now, the booster boxes are, as far as I heard, are constantly going down $1 or $2 on Amazon due to Xmas, so I would look there. Also, GameStop is doing BOGO on the... Are they still doing buy one, get one free on the boosters? That's another spot. Piercing rubber is a good porno. Thanks, we worked hard on it. It was hard to get the, you know, all the knife stuff in there, but, you know, you get professionals. You can do whatever you want. Let's see. So we've got commons, flamethrower. This thing rules, by the way. Crushing size. I like this a lot on a Pierce-oriented deck, because you get Pierce 1 in there. Everyone, whenever I play this, it's always like, oh, what are you doing Crushing Size for? And I'm like, because I'm going to pierce through all your armor. Ready for action. Great common. Don't put it in literally every deck. It's no pips, but untapping is power. They have to be 10 stars or fewer. This is probably going to be for 3-wide or 4-wide character teams. Improvised shield. You're probably not using this as armor. You're probably using this for those, because there's only a couple cards in the game right now that have double orange pips. When you attack, you want to flip cards with orange pips. This gives you +2 attack if you flip it. That's why a lot of people like it. My rare is the Fusion Cannon of Megatron, which I am planning to try out soon. I want to try doing a tanks deck, and a lot of tanks decks don't actually use this because it's not super efficient, and I love building tier 2 decks, is the way you might put it, although there are no real tiers in this game yet. I like the idea of this because Pierce 3, I like Pierce a lot. Once you actually start using Pierce, you come to respect Pierce, especially when you've been hit by Pierce. Alright, my uncommons. Aerial Recon. I wish I liked this more. It lets you preload. It's planes only, but lets you preload, and some of the planes you want to preload. I'm running 3 of it right now in a Seeker's deck I made, and I kind of wish or not Seeker's deck, in Aerial Misdirection. Kind of wish I wasn't, but I need it for the pip. And then Turbo Boosters lets you untap a card when you put it on it. This thing, the combo of this, because it's a +1 utility, +1 to attack utility, the combo of this is when you run it with swap parts, because the put on cars only is only when you put it on something yourself. Put this on a car to untap it, then you swap parts, you swap equipment. When this goes on to another character, when you put it on a character, untaps them. Now, when you swap gear, I don't know if you can only swap it onto cars still. I need to go check the FAQ for that. Anyway, if it takes me that long to open one booster, I hope you all are ready for a long weekend. Let's open another one of these. But I love friggin' the pull. I love the pull on these boosters. You start up in the J-hooks, J-hook, you know, the part where you hook it on a rack. You pull, split, 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 boof! It's like ripping open your prey, you know? It's like catching an animal and... Autobot Mirage! Alright, this dude is in my Piercing Rubber deck. This guy, I am adamant that he works. Although I haven't gotten this to fire off yet. If he attacks, and you flip at least 3 white pips, you get to untap him. That's big. That means you're basically getting another attack later on. And you can flip to this and play an action. That's also big. That means you can play more than 1 action per turn. Friggin' cool stuff. As for my little cards... Also, I gotta move some things out of the way of my leg. Because right now, I'm kind of contorted around something that was lying near my desk. And I'm realizing if I do this for like an hour or two, my spine is going to actually just pop out of the back of my rear skin. And it's going to be a whole big mess. I won't have a spine anymore. Some might argue I don't have one already. That was a clever dig. One day I'm going to use one of those on someone else. My comments, Flamethrower. So I like Flamethrower because it's just here. If you flip it, it's an orange. So you get to attack more. If you get bold too, you flip more 2 cards. You might flip 2 more of these. Flamethrower powers itself. It's wonderful. Improvise shoot. These are the same cards. Alright, here's some new stuff. Scrapper Gauntlets. This is one of the equipments where you put it on a character, and then you either draw a card to replace this in your hand, maintaining your hand size, or you scrap an enemy weapon. That's not a bad thing if your enemy has like a friggin' Energon axe. Zap. I love this card too, because it's just straight up 1 damage. Innocent little card, but it also has a pip, and it just does 1 straight up damage, which is not in an attack. Null Ray of Starscream is the potentially worst rare in the game. There's kind of a tie between 3 cards off the top of my head. I wish I liked this more. One of the main problems with this is currently there's not really a deck set up where I would want Starscream to have a lot of bold on top of what he might already have. Because, like, usually with planes I'm building for indirect damage, Zap is kind of the only one of those damage cards that has a pip. So flipping on bold is kind of like it's just churning through my deck for no real reason. Unfortunate. But hey, also, first two packs, we got some Decepticonery going on. Yeah, the playset limit is 3 per deck. Debilitating Crystal. I have still never used this in a built deck. It lets you bounce and upgrade. That's cool. It's just this is a utility. It's a white pip, which you don't want tons of in a deck unless you're building for that. And there are cards that do this better and in larger numbers, and there are better utilities that do other things. And there's cards that do this that are action cards. Debilitating Crystal is a bit of a weird one. Crushing Treads, though. I like this because I like tanks, even though I haven't run them yet. And I like Pierce. Tanks have high defense, it's high Pierce. Makes me happy. There is no limited or ban list in the game yet, Barricade64. There's not even really a meta. Everyone who went to PAX Unplugged, which is where the current meta is being drawn from, everyone who actually played there have gone at length to explain that they, the people playing what made the meta, they don't really feel it's a meta either, because it was 1 tournament. I missed a couple things. Scrapper Gauntlet's the only common I don't have a full playset of. Oh, that's too bad. I got one right here. Oh, look at this. Beautiful card here. It's a shame you only have 2. Okay, question. What happens if upgrade can't be put on the other character? The upgrade can't be put on, it stays where it is. Okay, I get you. And if they have an upgrade of the same type, it stays where it is. I thought it... Oh, no, wait, because it swaps. It should. Oh, that might be for the case of cargo trailer. I need to look at that card again. Anyway, thank you, Julianne, for checking the FAQ on that. I guess you can't swap Turbo Booster specifically to a non-car because its effect is from being put on, but it's also put on cars. So I think you can't do that. But I could have sworn there was a thing where you could swap equipment onto people who aren't supposed to have it. Man, this is where we find out that I also had about 5 hours of sleep last night, and the coffee I drank was in the afternoon. All right, Sergeant Cup. All right, we got a story to tell about this guy. Did I explain this card game earlier in the stream? No, no man ba. I've talked about the card game in another stream. There are a lot of videos that explain this game. I'm gonna probably make one that explains it because I like it a lot. But in this stream, I'm just shredding through cards. I'm explaining what the cards do as I go. Why is this hiding your comment? Okay, show. I'm like, Silver Leagues, I don't know what... Oh, I see what it was. Cock teased. Dear chat interface, I'm not in a position... I have to stretch a lot to do this. I can't turn off the thing that moderates the comments. Come on, man. Okay, well, I tried. If your comment doesn't show up... It might be because it had the word cock or fart or balls in it, and then YouTube said, hey, you gotta review this. So, my apologies. Alright, so let me tell you all about... Oh, Mechanova King! Perfect timing! So I've been playing with Mechanova King a bunch locally. I used to think Sergeant Cup sucked. The thing... Did you know, okay? A truck, right? Who doesn't really have any abilities. You'd think like, this old man, this fool. You know? He's got some stats. One thing you learn in this game, 3 defense is actually a massive difference compared to 2 defense. It is huge in gameplay. Also, it turns out, when you have Cup with his 5 attack, and then you actually give him a gun, like a piercing blaster, for instance, you give a truck a gun and a truck becomes scary. You know, in this game and in real life. Okay, farts and balls go through... Oh, here we go! Ryder Skullman! It hid you because you said dicks. I'm gonna show that. Just to prove a point. There. See? You see that pop-up? Yeah! That's right. Alright, so no cock and no dicks. Oh man, they're gonna totally hit me with that not suitable for advertisers thing. Oh man. Alright. Also, hey, we're No man ba. I'm in the middle of opening the cards. I don't think I'm going to reach that one before it scrolls off the chat. But it also could tell that you put the word dick and cock together into dick cock. Izim, the word penis did not go through. You can't be medical. You can't... Oh, okay, Silver Leagues, you were able to say boobies. Which astonishes me a little bit. Anyway, what were we talking about? Armored plating. This is real basic. It's just +1 to armor. It actually has a place, a basic card like this. You know that one where I said you probably don't want to actually use the card, that armor one that had 2 oranges, but you wouldn't want to actually equip it as armor? This blaster has 2 blues, gives you bold 1. If you put this in a deck, you probably don't actually want to put this on someone, because you're probably building 4 blue pips. True story. Force Field. A lot of people love this card. I think this card is incredibly important. Basically, if someone's going to blast a character in the face for 5 or more damage, which happens in this game, you scrap the Force Field and they only take 4 damage. Here's the thing about Force Field, though. I have run 3 of it in a bunch of decks, but I caution running 3 of it, depending on who your characters are, because at a certain point in the game, this is actually useless. If a character has 4 or less health left, this does nothing. And it's also a white pip. Those are good to flip now and then, not good to flip all the time unless you're building for it. Brainstorm is one of my favorite cards in the game. This is you play this action to play 2 more actions. It lets you cheat the tempo, and I love doing that. And our rare is Static Laser of Ironhide. Once upon a time, I might have said, oh look, it's its cousin. But +3 damage is actually something. If it's not on Ironhide, the character who uses this takes 2 damage when they attack. There are a couple characters in this game, more than a couple, that benefit from having a small trickle of damage coming in on them at a regular pace, outside of getting punched in the face. So I actually have grown to like this card. Multi-tool. This is multi-tool and multi-mission tool. They're just great cards. You have to have a specialist, but it's basically, this one, you play this upgrade, you can play another upgrade. The other one, you can play an upgrade, and then it lets you play another action. Lets you cheat the tempo, which I love doing. And Plasma Burst is Zap's bigger brother, who is also a lot more dangerous to use. Zap does 1 damage, this one does 2. However, this has no pips, this has an orange pip. No pip cards! They are not poor cards, but the no pip is because they do more down here. You don't want to fill your deck with these, again, unless you have a deck planning around the idea that you're not necessarily going to flip anything useful on an attack or defense. Alright, 20 minutes in, and we've done 4 packs. Let's keep rolling. Y'all got carried away trying to work with the word filter. Good on ya. I don't think I'm going to go over to, like, show hide comments anymore, so my apologies. There's an ad before the stream is starting. Thank you, Sean Crosser, for watching the ad before the stream. I hope it was a good ad. I heard PL had, like, a friggin' pro-nationalism ad. Please let me know if I have ads like that show up, because there's apparently a way I can get those out of my system. I've never done it, and I looked it up once, and it was complicated. But, like, I don't want my channel to be a source of this garbo. No Man Ba. This game is actually just called the Transformers TCG. That's the name they settled on. It's just the Transformers card game by Wizards of the Coast, who are owned by Hasbro, so they can do this. Oh, this is like the 14th time that's happened. So this is Common Megatron. He's actually pretty good. He's the Megatron you want to use in the current 3-wide tanks deck. But also, the rare version is the one I'm missing. The rare version is just... I want all the characters. Because this guy, he's got Pierce. You know, you put the fusion cannon on him, and he's got Pierce 6. It's good times. And on this side, you flip to this, and you can scrap... if you drop a card from your hand, you take an upgrade off an enemy. Any upgrade. That can be important. Storm Chopper. I'll show you Storm Chopper after this. 14 Flame War is good. That's a good kind of life to live. Personally, a 20 Flame War life is how you know you're going to have a good year. Alright, Crushing Size we've talked about. Incoming Transmission. Another one of the most important cards in the game. Because, okay, you might notice also a lot of the cards they say are super important are also commons. That's one of my favorite parts of this game on a distribution level. The core cards are mostly commons and uncommons. Incoming, so you're dropping a card to draw 2, then put 1 card, any card from your hand, back on top of your deck. So what you're doing is you're trading this for another card, and then you get to preload your attack. So if you have someone who wants to attack with certain kinds of pips, you put at least one of those pips that you want on top of your deck, you know you're flipping that on the attack. Preloading your attack is a big part of this game. Leap into Battle is also a real important card because it's just a straight up +3 to your attack till end of turn. A lot of different characters make big use of this. There are also decks where you might not want to use this card because it's sort of superfluous or it's just going to be the only attack pump and you're going to do damage other ways. However, this is a good card to just put into a deck Spinal Cord if you're trying to brew something up. Ready for Action, we talked about. That's some of that, I believe, good old Casey Collar art there. And the rare is Heroism. I actually wanted one of these for... which deck was it? Oh, for Storm Chopper. Alright, this is going to go into the Storm Chopper battle box pile. Heroism, by the way, basically you put this on a character and they take all damage instead of your other characters. Again, there are some characters where this is useful stuff for various reasons. And there's also characters where this is completely useless, but I like this idea a lot. Alright, Grenade Launcher. Anyone who had the starter deck, you got 2 of these, and you probably, if you played with the starter deck, immediately went like, oh, that's good! So this gives a character +4 attack, which is kind of huge. It goes away after you use it because you shot the grenade. But it's a good card. Also, it's Thunderclash's appearance in the game so far, which is, you know, that's my boy. And Turbo Boosters, excellent. I want to figure out which card deck I've been brewing that I want to have in my battle box, and so I wanted spare Turbo Boosters for that deck. Oh, Ender Trot. There's some pretty funny IDW panels in these cards in the context of what the cards are. Alright, Core Game Mechanics saying Scry is good is just amazing. Yeah, the nice thing about this game, you don't even necessarily have to run playsets of your best cards, because not only do you churn through your deck by attacking and defending, there are then cards to further churn through your deck if you really want specific ones. I like that side of this a lot. Oh, the starter deck in Canada is coming in next week. The store I went to, Harry Tarantula, mentioned that they want to run a launch event, but they're doing it next Friday because the starter decks got delayed a week. I also saw at Face to Face they said starter decks are next week. I think a lot of this, you know what a lot of this came from? You can actually, we haven't looked at that yet. Oh, I can zoom in here, I remember. Yeah. You see where it says Carte des Personnages? We're all pretty sure that's what caused the big Canadian delay. It's what we're all pretty sure about. You know, 7 battle cards each pack. 7 cartes de combat par pack. You know, that's... Welcome to Canada. Booster packs or packs booster. You know? Jeu de cartes à collectionnaire. Version anglais, seulement, packs booster. English only! This game, like, if this is why, then this game got delayed coming to Canada for a good while, and all they had to do for bilingual was the packaging, not even the actual cards. Can you imagine if they had to also run French versions of all the cards? Jiminy Cricket. What did I miss? Are they going to do... what do I think about Windblade being in Wave 2? Good stuff, Picky Peeves. Blackhawk Omega, maybe they'll do a starter deck for Wave 2. I mean, I would expect. Well, No Man Ba, this isn't even getting that Quebec audience. This is getting the English people who live in Quebec who have to put up with this all the time. It's Chop Shop. Alright, Chop Shop is a guy I tried to run in Storm Chopper. Storm Chopper still makes sense as a name. It made more sense when Chop Shop was in it, but then I realized he was kind of this weird little separate, like he was half part of the team, but mostly operating by himself, and I replaced him with Ransack, and the team runs better. So it's still Storm Chopper, just Chop Shop's not in it. He got cut. Another Insecticon got in instead. I'm sure Chop Shop is peeved. Alright, Drill Arms. Remember Scrapper Gauntlets, right? Drill Arms is the one for dealing with armor. It's also a weapon that gives you +1 attack. Many will say this is, if you just need a weapon in your deck, this is probably the one. Yes, you could say he got chopped. All 5 of you who said that. Okay, it was 3, never mind. EZM93, so far the largest Insecticon deck you can run is 4, just due to the limitation of the star counts of the Insecticons. Anyway, what was I saying? New designs. Also, hell of a panel to have on a common card that like, the card, it kind of makes sense. It's, you know, looking at a design of a piece of equipment. If you play this action, you can play an upgrade. So in the game, you can play 1 action and 1 upgrade per turn. So this basically means you're trading playing an action to play a second upgrade. And yeah, if you've read the comics, you know, like, that's a pretty mundane way to explain what he's looking at, but that's one of my favorite things about this game. Is they picked panels that, you know, in a vacuum, these totally work. In context of the story, some of these, oh, wait till you see Salvage for Parts. I hope I need one of those for my second playset of stuff. We saw Zap, Scrapper Gauntlets we saw. What's the rare gonna be? Shock Absorbers. Alright, so, you know how I said that Null Ray of Starscream was kind of in this contention with 2 other rares for probably being currently one of the worst rares? Shock Absorbers is one of the other ones. Shock Absorbers and Cybertonium Bow both have this thing where, if the upgraded character flips an equal number of blues and oranges, they get a bonus. Flipping an equal number of blues and oranges currently is impossible to plan for. Now, I actually kind of like a bit of randomness and a bit of swinginess in a card game, which is why I like Magic, but I don't think I fit in entirely with high-tier Magic. But Shock Absorbers and Cybertonium Bow are super-duper random. On more levels than trying to flip a whole lot of white pips at once. It's very difficult to use this in Cybertonium Bow right now. I have faith that there will be ways to use them come Wave 2 or Wave 3, because there's going to be more stuff coming, you know? But right now, not really much to do with this card. Ramming Speed, Scrap an Enemy Upgrade. This is currently, you know, I've mentioned there are some cards that are kind of the go-to for doing a thing. This is currently kind of the go-to for scrapping upgrades, because you just can scrap any upgrade, and it's an orange pip. Right now, rolling towards orange is very popular. And Multi-Tool, we saw before. It's Multi-Mission Tool we haven't seen yet. Alright, another one. Yeah, Jobo 720, Salvage for Parts is a picture of the autopsy of the senator that Chrome Dome and Prowl are doing, but the card's called Salvage for Parts, and it's a picture of an autopsy. I love it. Do I think Windblade's special ability will involve interacting with Metroplex? Maybe? Metroplex deck has Titan as a keyword. I wonder if perhaps it'll be Titan instead of Metroplex. Oh, Fred Bob. Yeah, this game is really casual friendly. I mentioned before, about 80% of the best of these cards, the battle cards you're drawing in the game, are common and uncommon. You don't even, like, you buy 1 box, you've got enough to make at least 1 very viable deck. You buy just, like, 6 packs, you can probably still build a deck that can do something. The people who've been playing this game a lot more than I have been saying that, in their experience, the deck build is only 50% of the win. 50% of it is still piloting the deck. If you have a deck that's, worse than the opponent's deck, but you're able to outsmart them or play your cards more smartly, this is a game that can allow for that to work still. So I would say this, because this game is also designed for 8 and up at its core, and then it was designed for adult fans in its mechanics on the cards. So I would say it's very casual friendly. The main thing is you got to get friends to play with you. And this, by the way, my friend here is Uncommon Starscream. I like this one more than the Common Starscream in constructed decks that I'm making not for, demo play. I want to figure out what to do with Common Starscream, because I think he's got uses. It's just Uncommon Starscream is 1 star more. He's got a very Plains-relevant ability, and Plains are a very specific tribal in this right now. I just like this one more. He's in both Plains decks I've made. I have the one I run with Slipstream, and I've recently built one I haven't tried yet, which is just the Seekers. Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp, for everyone who didn't get Slipstream. I'm adamant that there's a Plains deck that still works without Slipstream. Roger Skullman, do we have any original art for the TCG yet? Actually, nothing in Wave 1 in the boosters is original. The character cards are from an old mobile game called Transformers Legends. And then all of these are from mostly IDW comics. However, it was said in an interview that I ran with Aaron over on WTF and TFW, we ran with the brand manager of this. They've already been commissioning artwork, and the Metroplex deck character cards are all new art. All 4 of those cards have new art on both sides. Well, all but one of them have new art on both sides. Yeah, I played the old Legends game. My favorite part was the art. That's part of what drew me to this game. I was like, even if this game's bad, I'm going to collect the character cards because I love that art. And then it turned out this game was good. Combaticon, no worry that you really wish you could give the game a shot. No money to invest in card games at the moment. That's understandable. I have biases, bear in mind when I say this. I've tried, there's a sealed format where you buy 2 boosters and you play against someone else who has 2 boosters. Basically, you open both boosters, they are your deck. You take your 2 characters, even if they're the same, doesn't matter, add up their star count, and then the difference, whoever has more stars, the difference is applied to their characters in damage when the game starts. That format actually runs real well, and it means that you can play this by buying basically 4 boosters. If you have a friend who's interested, at least. However, that also then starts the slippery slope of, oh, these cards were fun, maybe I should buy some more. And then you run into the wall of, you're buying a whole bunch of cards, and that runs into the point you were making. Alright, so Repair Bay. All of the cards that do healing are the one type of battle card I still haven't found a use for in my own deck building. I have played against them when they've done a lot, but I'm still waiting for the moment where I feel like I know where I want to put these. Inspiring Leadership. I used to not like this card. I've come around on it. Actually, in my Seekers deck, I believe I'm using this one, because the Seekers deck is based on getting a few very specific cards, and this lets you basically churn through your deck. You draw 3, then discard 2. So you're basically drawing 3 out of your 40 cards, trying to find a specific one. New designs we looked at, still kind of weird. Reinforced Plating, tough 2. This is not a bad card. This used to go unnoticed because in the first month of the game, everyone was building aggressive and with lots of orange pips. Now that blue pips are becoming a thing in deck building, this is becoming a thing. It gives you tough 2, so you flip 2 more cards when you defend. Oh, yes! Okay, I like this card a lot. Security Checkpoint. This is my rare. Each player reveals their hand, scraps all upgrades from it. There's a bunch of ways this gets used, but Inferno is a character in this game, and he has a thing where when you flip into a mode, you pick a character on any character, and all their upgrades get bounced to the opponent's hand. So you, say, pick, a fully tooled out Optimus Prime with weapon, armor, and 3 cargo trailers. You flip Inferno, bounce those 5 cards to their hand, play this, drop those 5 cards, please. Backup plan, scrap your hand, draw 3 cards. I like this. I haven't used this to great effect yet, but if you actually are basically, top decking, you're out of cards, play this, you scrap your hand of nothing and draw 3 cards. It's not bad. And Treasure Hunt. Mecha Nova King brought me around on this card, and I've actually used it. I think I'm using this in Storm Chopper, actually. The actual list is off the screen right now, just my want list is showing. But basically, it's another tunneling card. You take the top 4 cards of your deck, any upgrades go into your hand, the rest get scrapped. Sunstorm wants cards in your hand, so you put a lot of upgrades in your deck, there's a good chance you're drawing 2 to 4 cards off of 1. Also, you have, say, a specific upgrade that's key to your deck strategy. You use Treasure Hunt to just, dig for that upgrade so you get it right away. All right. Ezim, what's... Oh, Straight Up Evil. Is it Inferno Trick, I'm guessing? Is Straight Up Evil? If I have a friend who plays Magic and a friend who used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, which of the two is it more similar to if you've played either? I have never played Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic is kind of the first card game I ever played when I was, like, a little kid. I've been told by people that this has very little to do with Magic, is what I would say. I don't know about Yu-Gi-Oh! I've been told this game is a lot closer to Pokemon and Duel Masters, in that it's squads of characters. So I wish I could help more. Some of the folks who work on Magic right now did work on this game. Not Richard Garfield specifically, but Mark Rosewater, who's, I believe, the current head of Magic the Gathering development in the Magic chair that he sits in. Oh, Vanguard is what I heard about, too. Yeah, Cardfight Vanguard. Also, it's Ramjet. All right, Ramjet is my favorite vanilla character, because he's a plane. He's got 14 health. And then when you turn him into a plane, he's like a 4-2 here, which ain't bad. You turn him into a plane, 0 defense, 7 attack, because he's just coming at you. Also, when he's a plane, he's melee. And when he's a robot, he's ranged. I love that. And I also really like the artwork. I just love that he becomes a melee plane, because he's friggin' Ramjet. Oh, Supercharge. I don't think we've talked about that one yet. Digimon TCG also involved recycling your deck. Thank you, Silver League. Mechanova King is close to Pokemon. It's no... Yeah, it really has very... The only thing this really has in common with Magic, other than the people who worked on it, is that this game is, like, you know, when you attack, you tap a character. This game actually can just... They can write the word tap, because it's Wizards of the Coast. That's kind of the one thing That, and also, like, all the character cards are foiled. The other thing this has in common with Magic is these character cards, upon contact with oxygen, will begin to curl, because the foil side will start to contract. Or was it the card side? One side starts to contract in oxygen, and these will basically bend slightly when left exposed to air. Luckily, you don't have to shuffle these ones, so it's not quite the problem it is in Magic the Gathering, where cards you're shuffling also start curling. Yes, Ezim, that is a lot of attack. I'm going to grab my drink and put it closer to me so I can just start sipping. I love my straw, because, yo, check it out. My hands are in shot, right? I can also lean over. Take a sip of that fine Zero Cola. Also, this, actually, I can put this over here. That was in the perfect position for me to swat my glass off my table. And that would have been sad. Supercharge. One of your characters gets bold 3 till the end of the turn. So you know there was that card, Leap into Battle? It's too deep now. Give you +3 attack. That's if you're going to buff your base attack. This one lets you flip 3 more cards when you attack. If you built a deck that's mostly orange pips, that's basically giving you +3 attack, but you might have also put in the one with the 2 orange pips. That might give you +4 attack, +5 attack. Who knows? Maybe even +6 attack if you get super lucky. Rapid Conversion, my favorite card. It's a common, which is beautiful, because this card, in my opinion, there is no deck in this game, barring maybe a few that I wouldn't want to pilot myself. Any deck I make has at least 1 copy of this, maybe 2. I used to just go 3 copies of this no matter what. I've been dialing back a little bit to make more white pip room. But basically, this card lets you flip a character to its other mode. This card is currently the only card in the game that lets you, outside of the 1 flip per turn, transform a character into robot mode. All the other transformation cards go to alt modes. Sometimes en masse, but it's always robot to alt mode. This is the only one that lets you go alt mode to robot. I'm convinced that's a balancing point for the game engine. We'll see if in Wave 2 some card comes out that, like, goes the other way, but having looked at the game, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, I think, from my layman's perspective, that it's unlikely we'll ever see a mass flip your entire team to robot mode card. Primary Laser, super basic, +2 attack, but it's a blue pip, so you can play this in a deck where you're going towards blue. It gives you +2 attack. You might want to build Pierce, which is armor piercing or unblockable damage. That's basically where Primary Laser lives. Scrapper Gauntlets. Where's Jeff? Is Jeff still here? I got another Scrapper Gauntlets for you. Oh, no, I don't. It's over here. It's in my pile. But, oh, look at this. It's like my 18th Scrapper Gauntlets. Oh, what am I going to do with all these? I'll eat this one, maybe. I'll go put it on some pizza. My rare is Start Your Engines. The rare that I chased all the way to European eBay looking for my original 3rd copy of this. I still not pulled that many of these. I've pulled 1 more since then. This is my 5th one. I like this card a lot. This is actually one of the ones where you flip each of your characters, they have to have a car mode, but they all get to go from bot mode to car mode, then you can untap one of those cars. This is kind of how the cars tribal tends to work right now, is lots of untapping, lots of flipping back and forth. Computer sabotage. Your opponent chooses 3 cards from their hand, scraps the rest. I like this. This used to go in my shadow play deck, but I also found, A, you're letting your opponent choose what they scrap, and B, if you're shadow playing them hard enough, they shouldn't have enough time to have 3 cards to choose, and there's other cards that let you dump their entire hand that I would play instead of this. It's gonna have use, I haven't found it yet. Also, it's Tailgate, known computer saboteur. I think he's actually doing something helpful in this panel, but, you know, I'll take more Alex Milne art whenever I can get it. And we got Plasma Burst. It's our boy Turmoil. It's his 1 card appearance. I think it's a pretty good card. It's a slightly niche card. Turmoil's a slightly niche character. It's a good place for him. Picky Peeves. There is a sort of set up order of operations. It's not set entirely. Basically, in your turn, you get to play an action, play an upgrade, and transform once. Those 3 things have to happen first, but they can happen in any order. The last thing you do every turn is you have to attack. You can't choose to skip attacking, and attacking always happens at the end of the turn. Oh, that's Tailgate fixing the comma in the Tyrestic. Yeah, I mean, that's not sabotage. That's, fixing the comma is the opposite of sabotage. Oh man, it happens every time. I know what this card looks like, and it happens I gasp, I have that brief intake of air, and I'm like, no, it's the common Megatron. Oh, it's Medic. It's another one of those heal cards. Me and Mechanova King did a little bit of that theory crafting. I think that my theory ended up proving to not work. My theory was a Trucks deck could be like a Tanks deck that builds for heal instead of Pierce. And I don't think that ended up working out very well, but I'm still convinced that's a direction healing can go. This is basically a 1-character heal, too. The problem I have with healing right now is healing is often piecemeal enough that you're either smoothing out dents before, like, a fist goes through the entire car panel, or a fist already went through the entire car panel, and now you're smoothing out dents. Like, it's kind of like they're always doing either so little that you're already winning because you're able to play that card, or you play them in a desperate heat and you're not healing enough. My experience with healing, though, personally is very limited, so don't listen to me entirely on that. Primary Laser, it's our boy Prowl. Incoming Transmission, very good card. Force Field, we talked about that. Don't necessarily run 3 of them, but consider running them in every deck. Oh, it's the other one. Here we go. We got the whole trinity. Here, let's look at the uncommons first. Treasure Hunt. Oh, I like Collateral Damage. I still haven't found a good place for this yet, but each player scraps a weapon. Each player scraps a card from their hand. There is a place for this. Anyway, let's get out the trinity. I got the bad rare trinity. It's a rare sight. Hey, I couldn't think of a better word. So we got them all. It's Null Ray of Starscream, which I think will find a place someday. And then these 2 that both have the same... currently kind of crippling factor of you want to flip equal orange and blue. That's very hard to do. That's almost impossible to plan for. And the effect they give is neat, but reports I've heard is that, like, Cybertonium Bow, because it pumps your attack, sometimes can lead to a game-winning swing, but Shock Absorbers usually basically does this, but for defense. I'm convinced there will someday be a place to play these, because we are only, 1 wave in. But right now, they are sad rares to see, unfortunately. Silver League's a fresh box. You get dupe characters. You'll get dupe characters, but as far as building a deck, you're able to out of a box, in my opinion. It's Inferno. It's the boy we were talking about. All right, so you see he's like vanilla. By the way, 8 is the highest base attack in the game right now, so he's got a thing going on in robot mode. You flip to this, goes down to 6 and 3, but then you flip to this mode, return all upgrades on a character to their owner's hand. Here's the thing Mechanova King likes to do. There are some upgrades where you play them, and they have a real mean effect when you play them. But then the effect is done. Then he uses Inferno to bounce the upgrade back to his hand, and then play it again, and do the effect all over again. It can get real rude, And then you run a brainstorm so you can friggin' start, rapid conversioning this guy and do all kinds of other stuff. It's a mess. It's good stuff. I like that kind of stuff. Josh Cote, where did I grab these? I grabbed these at Harry Tarantula, but they're out in Canada now everywhere. Any friendly local gaming store that ordered them should now have the booster boxes and should have the starter decks next week. All right, Inspiring Leadership, we talked about you. New Designs, we talked about you. Stealth Megatron, we talked about Supercharge, recently talked about it. Supercharge, by the way, is like, it's funny. Starscream's on there. Null Ray of Starscream is pro bold, but currently there's no time where I want to run bold on Starscream. I feel like there's a thing that's going to happen. Lee Calba in the States, yeah, these are also out at Target. They've been out in the States for a much longer time than now, than they've been out in Canada. But yeah, in the States, they are available at Walmart and Target. A lot of people who buy a pack at Target seem to be pulling the super rares, which is making me blink. It's Swarm. I only have 3 of these. Granted, I probably don't need more than 3 of these, but I'm a lunatic, and I want to have 6 of every card so I can have 2 full play sets, because I'm weird. And I needed a second play set of these, so there's my start. Swarm is an Insecticon card. It's pretty cool. Insecticons have a couple cards based on how many Insecticons you started the game with, not how many you have on the table now. You start with 4, that's the number it calls to. So you flip 4 cards. For every orange you flip, your opponent has to put a damage on one of their characters. For every blue, you repair a damage. It's a kind of a cool card to play in the mid-game. It can do some mean things. A little bit swingy, but it's my kind of swingy. Plasmaverse we talked about. Disarm basically does Inferno's effect, but it's a battle card. And also, it's one of the Empire of Stone panels. There aren't a lot of these, but I giggle every time I see them. Yeah, Silver League. Target's got them. I don't think it's like Target literally got given more super rares. I think it's just it's confirmation bias. But I just noticed every time someone's like, I bought 2, like most of the time Nemesis is been reported on the Facebook group. Someone's like, yeah, I bought like 2 or 3 packs. See what the game's like. Huh, I pulled a Nemesis Prime. Oh, is there a symbol to tell if it's common, uncommon, rare, or super rare? Yes, there is. You've been looking at it this whole time, but it's so obvious you might not have actually seen it. Can you tell what the rarity is of these 3 cards? I'll give you a hint. It's on the bottom. It's right there. C for common, U for uncommon, R for rare. You get a number of what card this is in the set out of the 81 battle cards. They went super straightforward with it. The Transformers just say rare, uncommon, common, T for Transformer out of the 40 in Wave 1. So it's super straightforward. Empire of Stone is not, like, terrible. It's just, it's a weird little, like, personal in my life in-joke. I've also never finished reading it. I only read half of it, and then the comics kept moving, and I never went back to finish it. And then I said, should I go back to finish it? And everyone I know who read it said, like, you don't have to. And I was like, all right. Barrage! Got more Insecticons going on. I like this guy. This guy is Mechanova King, and this is another one from our play sessions. This is one of those guys who's, like, secretly scary. You run, like, you know, one of the real good Insecticon decks. You got Scrapnel, who's scary. You got Kickback, who's scary. And you got Ransack, who's scary. And then usually those 3 scary guys have Barrage on the team. You're playing against them. You're probably looking Kickback square in the eye and thinking about whether you're going to hit Ransack or Scrapnel next. Barrage, however, is just chilling out there, right? When he's a robot, if he attacks someone who's damaged, and someone's going to be damaged against that team, he gets bold too, and most Insecticon teams are building for bold. You flip to this mode, and he gives someone Pierce 2 so that 2 of their damage will just go right in on you. And usually, he's not the guy you're looking at to kill first. If he ends up being the last guy on the team, he's also got Defense 2 in bug mode and 11 health. So he's just like a good, strong, like, middle-of-the-team guy who survives to the end and then makes the end game hard still. Demolisher, was there a G1 character who looked like that? That is just the Armada character. I believe it's specifically the War for Cybertron version of him, because they made a model for him in the video games. And we haven't talked about Battle Ready yet. I've only run 1 deck where I felt like I could use this so far, but there are a couple decks based on putting upgrades, or I always call them equipment, but upgrades onto characters. This gives you +1 attack per upgrade. Most characters can take up to 3 upgrades, so again, it does that +3 that Leap into Battle does. If you play a Brainstorm, play both of these, and you have 3 equipment on, your guy suddenly has +6 attack on top of the boosted attack from the equipment he's gone on. It's not bad. It's not like one of the best ones in the game, but it's got its uses. Rapid Conversions. I also love the Rapid Conversion. One of my favorite cards. Also got my boy Cosmos on it. And it's IDW Cosmos. It's I Live in Space Cosmos, and I'm sad Cosmos. Drill Arms. Also, by the way, I forgot about this. This is from All Hail Megatron. That's all friggin' human blood. This is when he just, like, straight up drill gored a bunch of humans. So, you know, rated M for mature. There's a bunch of friggin' human blood on this card. The Rainer. No, these are MTG Pro strats. Standard shifted again. You must be behind. We're in Guilds of Ravnica now. This is all fully on topic. Flamethrower. This is also, by the way, currently the only appearance of Needlenose. Makes me happy because it's also a good card. Rollout! Oh, yes! I want millions of this card. Rollout is so, you know how I said 80% of the cards you kind of want to just put into any deck when you're brewing a deck are commons and uncommons? The very few rare ones that kind of, like, fulfill that space, Rollout is the one that I would say is the rare one that, unfortunately, you want to try to collect a bunch of these. I think this is a very good card. You don't need it in every deck, but it's just an extremely helpful, useful card. It's one of the 2 cards that gives you orange and blue on a flip, which is great for your deck pip balance. And then this is just the one where all your characters go from bot mode to alt mode. This can be a killer move if you have 3 really good alt mode flip effects. I like Rollout a lot. Also, it's All Hail Megatron Record Shot. Snuck another cup in there. Currently, I think the only appearance is Springer and Roadbuster in the game. Is it the best tribe? Take the question mark off that statement. Is it the best tribe? Period. You know, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Guilds of Ravnica, I couldn't get the one with Assassin Trophy as I couldn't register as that for pre-release." I just walked right in there. They were like, "Oh, I got to schlub it with the Is It pre-release." And I was like, "Fool! I pre-release registered Is It right away because I am a good person, like everyone in the Is It League." Anyway. Jaws of Steel. This is one of the 2 Dinobot cards. One of the other nice things about this game for its rarity layout is, like, a lot of the rares and a couple of the uncommons are these tribal ones. So it's like the cards you get the most of are the ones you'll use in basically any average deck. The specialized cards are also the more rare cards. There's something about that rarity layout that I just find quite beautiful. And they're fixing the comma. Computer sabotage. Fix the comma. If I ever play this card, I gotta remember to just say I'm playing Fix the Comma. I missed something else I was going to answer, and where did it go? Picky Peeves, any IDW designs I want figures of? Like tons of them. I need Sunder. Someone has to make me a Sunder before all of that goes away. Sunder is my boy. One of these days I want to try doing cosplay. It's so fun looking. It's been on my to-do list for literally years, and I'm like, I saw those human form, the Holo Avatar cosplayers at the last couple TF cons, and I was like, I could do Holo Avatar Sunder. That would be fun. Jig up a little effect, so if my eyes are closed, it looks like my eyes are missing. You know, have a couple of eyeballs on a necklace. Get someone to do Holo Avatar Freud to, like, just, you know, cart me around. It'd be fun times. Skywarp. Sadness. I'm trying real hard to be nice to him, but I never talk to anyone who likes it. Oh, if you want to know a card who gets picked on a lot, it's Skywarp. For a lot of people, Skywarp is the 6-star plane, so I can run 3 planes. So you flip to his alt mode. Both players reveal the top card of their deck. That's okay, but literally there are planes-oriented cards that do this without revealing it, and it's just yours. And then his robot mode, if he defends and you flip at least 1 white pip, you can defer the damage from him to one of your other characters. Again, it's like reverse heroism, slightly randomized. That's not a bad effect, necessarily, in a Plains deck that's oriented towards moving damage tokens to the opponent, but, like, poor Skywarp. He lost the roll on that. Oh yeah, me and Jeff, we did the 2 booster draft, and we both pulled Skywarp. So our story for that fight was Skywarp and an Autobot on both teams. It was Skywarp and a Dinobot, I think, on both teams, wasn't it, or something like that? It was Skywarp and an Autobot on both teams. Oh no, it was Skywarp and Slug, and then Skywarp and Optimus Prime. And our story for it was that it was actually just Optimus Prime and Slug. Skywarp was just teleporting from team to team, convincing them that he was the fake one, and they were fighting the real Skywarp, and that he was, like, Jetfire in disguise. But then the game became Skywarp versus Skywarp at the end, so we were like, and now Skywarp, because Skywarp's also stupid, he's now fighting himself. He's teleporting back and forth, punching himself in the face because he forgot his own cover story. It was a good time. Armor plating, we talked about. Handheld blaster, it's the 2 blue pip one. It's not necessarily the bold one. Force field, currently Trailblazer. That's old. Trailbreakers I think, only appearance in the game, but what a good thematic one. I think this is also the only appearance of that Red Alert, which is kind of cool. Brainstorm, also, yes. Brainstorm is Wheeljack. What's wrong? I don't get what the problem is. Oh, thank God. This is another rare I want a million of. Energon Axe is a weapon. It only goes on damaged characters, but it gives them +3 attack and Pierce 2, which means it gives them +3 attack, and then no matter how much damage gets blocked, at least 2 of their damage, if they're doing at least that much, will go through the defense. This gives them +3, so the Pierce 2 is always on. In my Stormtrooper deck, this goes right on Sunstorm after he inevitably gets, like, punched once, and then he becomes ridiculous. I love this card. Body Armor. This is one of those quietly Dino Body ones, but it has uses outside of Dinobots. This is basically the sister card for Power Sword. They're both melee character put on only. Power Sword is Bold 3. This one is Tough 3. Also, is this Maximum Dinobots? This is from. I just noticed Rodimus down there. Maximum Dinobots is from a period I actually literally can't remember. And then and Disarm. Ryder Skullman, and some deep lore I want a comic of. Hey, I'm putting the word out there. Who wants to do a fan comic of Skywarp fighting himself over the bodies of Slug and Optimus Prime? He was so convincing. He was like, all right, now I just got to take out that fake me that Jetfire's pretending to be, and teleporting so fast that he's actually attacking himself. Flame War. I love this card, even though I haven't run it very much. It's common. Part of the motivation in interviews I've heard, outside of the ones we did on the podcast, for this card being a common, was so that right away the team would make it clear that they are aware that Transformers is more than just the ones you remember from 1984. They wanted to have obscure characters in all rarity slots in Wave 1. This is the obscure common. She's also really good. She's a 5-star motorcycle. 5-star is not very common in the game right now. There's only a few of them, and they let you get a bit more creative with your team build. She's a specialist, so she can use all those specialist gear cards. I'm just checking the heat on the phone, because I just want to make sure it's not blazing yet. And then when you flip to bike mode, everyone gets bold 1, but then if she's in robot mode, just everyone has tough 1. That's it. Real basic upgrade, but when it's team-wide, that's pretty darn good. I believe I answered the question about the IDW design earlier. It's Sunder. I also would like to cosplay as Hollow Matter Avatar Sunder. I think that would be fun. The problem is I don't know how to cosplay. I know how to be handed a costume and pretend to be someone, but I don't know how to make costumes. And I would want to make a costume, you know? Crushing Size, by the way, it's currently an Overlord appearance. He's got a few, but I also like this because it's like Crushing Size. And it's like, yes, this is right before he used his size to crush someone. Incoming transmission, we got you. Leap into battle. I like that, you know, there's no 6-shot character card yet, but his appearance in the game is on a real good battle card that still is relevant to who he is. Ready for action. Ion Blaster. I'm getting all the name cards in this one. I don't mind this card. Also, this card ain't great. There's usually better things to pick at the end of the day, but it's also kind of fun. Like, it's good buffs. It's +2 attack and +1 defense on Optimus. The problem is, Optimus can be built up with a lot of utility stuff that seems very thematic to him, but you can also bounce a lot of it. It's, you know, give or take. Disruptive Entrance. This is a card I really like in my Shadowplay deck, although I've trimmed it down to 1 of in the current version I'm testing at. And Collateral Damage, we talked about that one already. That used to be in Shadowplay version 1, and then I found it actually wasn't doing very much, so I trimmed it out for the time being. By the way, if you want to see some of my deck lists, I've got a couple threads up in the TFW 2005 sub-forum for the card game. It's also currently a nice sub-forum. Like, TFW can be a real rough place, but if you sneak into the podcast sub-forum or the TCG one, basically the ones I like to hide in, there's not enough people in there for stuff to get stupid. Bombshell. So, it's not a bad subforum. It's currently we've got a couple fun threads in there. There's a couple of deck threads, a whole lot of stuff from the Wreck and Roll dudes on YouTube and the Vector Sigma info folks. I think they're buried now. We should probably sticky them. We had a thread about sleeving. We had a thread about storage as well. Anyway, Bombshell is one of the vanilla. He's a vanilla Insecticon. I don't dislike him. Mechanova King hates this card though, because unfortunately Bombshell is vanilla. He's just a meat stick. He's a ball of sinew. He doesn't do any kind of brainwashing stuff. He just chills out he hits for 5, which ain't bad. He has a defense of 4 in alt mode, which is really good. He's got 10 health, which is solid. It's just a very vanilla bombshell. Hopefully there will be a cooler bombshell in a future wave. You know what? This is one of Bombshell's clones. There. I solved it. I might have said that when we were playing before. I can't remember. But there's my headcanon for him. Alright, it's Brainstorm. I love this card. Leap into battle. Good. I'm getting all my staples. Medic, not so much. Drill arms. We got some blood. And no. Hi there. You heard me talking about you, didn't you, Nullray Starscream? Welcome back. Jaws of Steel. Here's another one of the Dinobot cards. Or was this the one we looked at before? I forgot. But this one just gives you bold 2. However, Dinobots can get real stupid with their bold. They get real dumb with their bold. If you play against Dinobots, you'll find that out super fast. And multi-mission gear. Here's the other specialist gear. So the one of them was put this on specialist, play an upgrade. This one you put on specialist, you play an action. We better talk about the Bumblebee fashion line happening in Russia. If I remember, that's one of those news items that once upon a time we would have picked because I was forcing people to pick new picture picks. But then we ditched that, partly because when we ditched it a few weeks in a row, we all were happier. So I can't guarantee we're necessarily going to talk about that. If you do ask it, you can ask us a listener question about it. You might get yelled at, but you can ask us a listener question about it. Ransack, we were just talking about you earlier. This is part of my Storm Chopper crew. So this dude, first off, he starts off here. This is where he's going to live for a little while. He's just a 3/2 insect with 8 health. When you flip to this mode, so you have to transform and flip back, you can heal 2 from someone else, but then put those damage onto him. Now when he's in robot mode, his attack, his damage he does in fighting, attacking, etc., is equal to the number of damage counters on him. So he can take up to 7 damage before he's KO'd, which means that can go up to 7 attacks. 7 attacks, huge, especially on a guy who is 6 stars. You have to do a bit of careful mathematics, but I like this guy a lot. He's a guy who can get scary if your opponent does not pay attention to him. There's another healer card. Poor healer cards. Like that noise? You like that noise? Is this one of those ASMR things? Or is that just irritating? Hang on, I gotta take a sip. I wonder if I can do some card tricks with these. Ah, yes. Some of that dehydrating soda to help hydrate my throat. I'm a real smart person. So I'm going to quickly go through these, and I want to see if I can fan them. Repair Bay, Inspiring Leadership, New Designs. Okay, we've seen all those. Dino Chomp. There's the other Dino card. Okay, so we hadn't seen this. This is the rare one. So you toss your hand, but then one of your Dinobots gets bold 5 until the end of the turn. A reminder, this one gives bold 2, and it's an upgrade. You put this on someone and play this. In one turn, you can give a Dinobot bold 7. Actually, I didn't just show you that. Look, it was one of the uncommons. Rapid Ascent. I guess I'll talk about that one. But this is a Dinobot who's now flipping 9 cards on the attack. Anyway, Rapid Ascent. You put this on a ranged character, opponent chooses a card from their hand and scraps it. I like this card a lot. The problem is I don't like this in a Plains deck a lot. Even though it's a very Plainsy looking card, for the current Plains playstyle, I just don't really find a place for this. It's weird, because Thundercracker's sitting right there. Anyway, I want to see if I can I do like a... they're too slippery. They're too slippery. Never mind. I was curious. I don't know why I wanted to do that on a stream and not by myself. You know, in the comfort of my... of my blankets as I lie in my underthings and curl up with a pillow. Like any hard-working Canadian boy would. Carrot Gear, every time I hear plastic wrapping noise, I think, oh no, I have to stop my cat. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Dinobots and Insecticons are all about tall and wide. They were ruling the meta that was the first month of the game. I say quotes on meta because there's 2 reasons. A, as a term, I think it's often more of a negative term than a positive one. Like, it obviously has an objective use, but like the idea of a Transformers metagame when like everyone playing the game who didn't play it at PAX Unplugged the one time has been playing in a limited personal player group. It's really hard to just say there's a meta. There are common strong decks, but like a defined meta, I say no. And a lot of the people who have played the game the most, who have been told they were creating the meta, have also said no. 6 to 7 Canadian, too much for a single pack of TCG in your books. I mean, I paid 6 something for a few packs from Meeple Mart when they imported them just because I wanted to support them and I liked the game. That's a bit much. You should be playing closer to 5 to 6. If you just want to pick one up and it's from a store you really like, you know, like, consider it you're giving the store a tip. But, they're not Rouse cards. Well, they should be. Alright, what are we doing? We're seeing who this is! Hey! Hey, look at that. Hey, check that out. Hey. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Eric. Hey, check it out. Come on back for a second. Come on back here for a second. We got some talking to... Who wants... Jeff, I have to go show. Hang on. To show your comment now. There, I put it back in. Ah, yeah. Whoo. Look at that. Look at that fella. Thank you, you Montebank. That is YouTube friendly. Who wants to play against some double primes? I can go put together a double primes deck if you want to start playing against the greatest deck in the meta. For those who don't know, at PAX Unplugged, there were like daily tournaments. Double Primes, Nemesis Prime and Rare Optimus Prime, was the first deck to go 5-0. What a lot of people don't seem to talk about as much is that the next day, the same guy who piloted that deck, I believe it was the same guy, or it was from that crew, one of them then ran a Metroplex deck, I think it was the same guy, ran it to, I believe, a 4-1. So there's a lot about the piloting in this game. This is also one of the 2 super rares. You can tell by SRT. There's only 2 super rare cards in the entire wave. There are 2 characters. There's a Nemesis Prime and one of the Bumblebees. They're 1 in 72 boosters. Nemesis Prime, because a lot of people who want to buy their way into winning think that this is one of the best cards in the game, and he's a hard one to pull statistically. He's currently the most expensive card in the game. I agree with a lot of people that he's not the best card in the game. He's just very strong. But there's plenty of ways around him. My Shadowplay deck is somewhat designed entirely... I made it partly because everyone said this was the best card in the game, and I was like, alright, but the whole reason he's amazing is... Well, you flip to this mode to just do 2 damage, which is cool, but the whole reason he's amazing is because every time you basically cycle your deck, you put 1 card from your deck under him and he gets +3 attack. So, you don't want to cycle through your deck a whole bunch of times. If you try to discard cards to do that, and I got Shockwave out in bot mode, he's not going to survive to cycle through your deck a bunch of times, kiddo! Anyway, this is a card I don't have. This is a very good card. I think this calls for, hang on. Let's get my equipment out here. The Combaticon, pay respects to the meta and the deity of chance will be kind to you. I'll just sit here and talk a bunch of slag on the meta, and it's like, alright, well here, get the favorite card. You hate me so much? Take it! I was gonna give this to someone at a Target! And then here, you take it! Dick! I think that the you mill, you win is, honestly, I think that that's more Cosmos. Nemesis Prime is just a very scary second card. A lot of people who play him have confirmed that, like, when they run Nemesis, he is the second guy. He's the one that they're inviting the opponent to attack out of fear, so that the main player of the deck, usually Rare Optimus, in this case, goes untouched. Anyway, we're gonna double sleeve us a character card. Let's do this. Alright, so first we take our Ultimate Guard inner sleeve, the Ultimate Guard Precise Fit for oversized cards. Slip that on top-wise. Push that in there. Alright, he's nice and cozy. He's open at the bottom, though. Alright, now let's just get him. Now with the opening on the bottom, that's going to go opening first down into the slightly larger Mayday Games Premium sleeve. Tougher thing to double sleeve, but I like it that way. And I'll just push them down in there. And then we gotta get, so you gotta slip your finger in and then push with your thumb, but keep your finger tightly pressed against the grab point. I like to call it the grab spot that's on the back. You can hyphen that to G spot if you want to. Like, I know a lot of card players like to hyphen that kind of stuff, but it's a whole lot of finger work. And then you got your card nicely double sleeved like a degenerate, and yeah, there we go. Completely protected, my Nemesis Prime. How'd this get over here? I don't even know. Wonder what cards came with Nemesis Prime. Let's find out. What's in his little bonus pack? This card that pays for over half of the booster box. We got Supercharged. I think we've talked about most of the comments, although not this one yet. Datapad, one of Rung's appearances, I think. I'm pretty sure those are Rung colors on Alex Milne hands. Anyway, you put this on someone and they get to preload a card basically before they attack. That's pretty darn useful. Piercing Blaster. This gives you Pierce 3. This is a surprisingly scary card when Mechanova King runs them on his friggin' trucks. Primary Laser. Alright, we talked about this one already. Oh, Zambulon. Benjamin Lewis. Alright, Zambulon. Security Checkpoint. I got another one. I want to come up with another, like, make you discard stuff deck. This is probably something that's going to go with an Inferno deck if I make one. I got to figure out an Inferno deck from a battle box. Treasure Hunt we talked about. And Disruption. This goes with Disruptive Entrance. Disruptive Entrance, I believe, was you scrap an action. This one you scrap an upgrade. And both of them you get to look at your opponent's hand. Also, this one's cute because this is from the one that started it all. For one of those ongoings. And it's another Rung appearance. Look at him in his little box of model ships. I think this is Cyclonus' only appearance, unfortunately, and it's hard to tell it's him. Unless I'm forgetting another card. I'm talking about the grab spot when I double sleeve my cards! Sorry, I looked at the chat for a second. Oh, I love to just yank that thing open. It's good stuff. Alright. I mean, the rest of the box doesn't even matter that much, does it? Thundercracker. Hey, I finally... This is the first Thundercracker I ever pulled. The Thundercracker I have right now is thanks to the very generous Mechanova King. I think I traded you like a Crushing Tread or something. I can't remember. But I finally pulled a Thundercracker. Alright. Black Hawk Omega. I'm just reading the chat. Black Hawk Omega says the grab spot is a myth. Sure, that's debatable. Wave sign, not triple sleeving. Okay, look. Alright. Friggin'. I wanted to, you know, show some restraint, but I guess it is Friday night. Oh, where are you? I got one more of you in here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. It's got to zip it back up so these don't all come spilling all over the floor. That would be embarrassing. Alright. You want a triple sleeve? We can triple sleeve. What's up, Nemesis? You're already double sleeved. Alright, let's do one more layer of protection. So we can just take Nemesis to the game and play hard, play long. I said hard already. Play hard more. And then the thing I always forget about, I can just use gravity to get him the rest of the way into the top loader. There we go. Now he's triple sleeved. Unfortunately, the pages that are sized for these cards can't hold a top loader because they're small time. I'm hoping to get through to Ultra Pro that I would like to be able to quadruple sleeve. But currently I can't. Laminating is not sleeving. Laminating is framing. It's very different in my opinion. Ray Bloody Purchase! Thank you, Slayer Sheep. Did you hear that? I said Slayer Sheep. Gravity, also a myth, says Blackhawk Omega. That's not gravity. Gravity stops when friction and air pressure stop the card from moving any further. Well, listen, Carl Sagan. Let's see what my next character card is. Oh, it's one of my actual rares. Autobot Cosmos. This is the guy, you know, he's gone with Nemesis before. Basically, if he attacks, and then while he's attacking, if you have to reshuffle your deck because you churn through it, then if the defender has 12 stars or fewer, so if the defender isn't Rare Optimus or Rare Megatron, they get KO'd instantly. Hard thing to set off, but it's also kind of scary. Also, I don't know if you noticed one of the numbers on this guy. Cosmos has the highest HP in the game outside of Metroplex currently, because he has 21 HP, and he's a specialist. Cosmos is a scary little boy. So when you flip to this mode, you can just drop your hand and then redraw however many hands, or how many cards you scrapped out of your hand. So draw up a big hand using other cards' effects, and then, you know, scrap like 7 cards, draw 7 more. You're blowing through your deck. I'm gonna put Cosmos over there with Nemesis Prime as kind of like a human blanket. Yeah, put Heroism on Cosmos if you just want his partner to never get hurt for a while. Alright, let's see what we got here. Inspiring Leadership. Talked about it. I think we've talked about the commons now, I think. I still don't encyclopedically know all the commons. I needed another data bank. Hooray! Alright, so data bank, it's a utility. You put it on a character, and basically at the start of your turn, you draw a card. So you draw a card at the start of your turn already, and then at the start of your turn, you draw a card. So you draw 2 cards. I have run a Sunstorm deck, and I had 2 of these in play briefly. And that was fun. I like data bank. That's for my my Stormtrooper battle box. I'm very happy about that. Bug Bomb. I like this card. I admit it's actually not all that great. Basically, you put it onto Insecticons only. If someone with Bug Bomb on them gets KO'd, then you draw a card, your enemy loses an upgrade and a card from their hand. So basically, it punishes the enemy for knocking out one of your Insecticons, and there is a bit of a KO your own team theme to the Insecticons in some builds. It has a place, I think. It's just not amazing. And we're fixing the comma. Wave Sign, you'll notice there aren't any characters with helicopter alt modes in this set. Yes, correct, because helicopters are fake. So this is a realistic card game. It doesn't get into nonsense fantasy stuff. Ryder Skullman, what do I think about Wizards of the Coast potentially adding movie characters to the game? So I asked about that in our first interview with the brand manager. Those are on my YouTube channel, by the way, if you do want to check them out. And he basically said, right now, this game, for the foreseeable future, is Generations only. Generations still being kind of a wide brush, but he said they have no intention of making it anything but Generations for the foreseeable future. I gave the straw. I don't know if you heard that. That was a hard suck on that straw. It was worth it, though. I needed the liquid. Autobot Jazz! Oh, I never pulled you either. I ended up buying one off eBay. Because I was getting impatient. I like this card a lot. Mechanova King does not like this card as much. For very viable reasons. I like this card a lot. Also, because he's an Autobot and a leader, so he can wear a Matrix. My current Piercing Rubber Cars deck is him and Super Rare Bumblebee, and basically one of my goals is to put a Matrix on both of them, so I have 2 Matrix of Leaderships in the field, because I think it's really funny, the idea that they're just like passing a bunch of Matrices around. Anyway, oh, I didn't show you the other side. So yeah, like, when he attacks and you flip 2 white, he gets Pierce 2, and then if he defends against someone who doesn't have Pierce and you flip 2 white, he has like a weird version of Heroism. Like I said, not the most amazing card in the game. The 10 health goes kind of far, oddly enough. But he's also just 6 stars and can wear a Matrix. Like, I kind of like that. Yo, is this a maple syrup box? Jojo Navarro. It is, you can tell, because it says English only. Here, we'll show this one more time for the stream. It's English only. Jeu de cartes à collectionneur, version anglaise, Zulamont, Pax Booster. So these are our, you can see it on the booster packs as well. I gotta save one of these, actually. I was saving an American booster pack. I should save a Canadian booster pack. See, in English only. Booster pack, pack booster. This is our special Canadian version of the game. Reveal the shield. I missed part of a conversation. Completely. But yeah, the game came out in Canada today. And, oh, I'm still zoomed in. so far, of the shops I talked to in the Toronto area, Face-to-Face Games has got the cards in, and they have a friendly gaming space. I'm sure they're going to be amenable to running something with this game. I went and talked to the guy who runs Three Kingdoms games. He's way into this game as well. He hasn't gotten to play it yet, as of, like, last week, but maybe he has by now. He seems real into having a Transformers night, and Harry Tarantula told me that they're going to run a launch party next Friday when they get the starters in, and if things go well, if people actually show up, they said they want to have Friday be their Transformers night, so we'll see. It sounds like Toronto might have a chance. When you guys told me to triple sleeve something, I never went through the pack of cards, so we're going to do a double pack right now. Let's double fist this. Commons, Repair Bay Datapad, Ready for Action Flamethrower, Improvised Shield Crushing Size, Reinforced Plating Zap. Our rares are Bombing Run and System Reboot! Oh boy. So, Bombing Run. This is for when I run my Plains deck. When I want to have my dedicated battle box Plains deck, I needed Bombing Run for that. Hooray. System Reboot is for Shadow Play. This is the card, whenever I've run Shadow Play so far, this is the card that causes sadness, because it makes you scrap your hand, and then when Shockwave is in robot mode, you take a damage for each card that was in that hand. It's good stuff. Alright, and then our uncommons, emergency... wait, there's a bunch of... Whoa! Got 2 emergency maintenances. This was meant to be. We've all seen Grenade Launcher. Crushing Treads, I believe we saw. So, emergency maintenance. Repair a damage from one of your characters. If you have more stars in your KO area than you have on the battlefield, repair 2 damage. I think this is an okay card. I just still haven't seen it swing a game yet, I guess. Also, emergency maintenance with this panel. I got bad news about how the emergency maintenance went. That's what I'm going to say. Some real bad news for you. It sure was an emergency. Maintenance was happening. Oops. That's one of my favorite things about this game, is if you actually have been keeping up with the IDW books, you're going to find cards where you kind of look at them and you go like, hey, wait a second. Like System Reboot even, it's like, I mean, yeah, that's what's happening. But, yeah, Grim Alchemist, that's why the card isn't called Successful Maintenance. Like, you're calling this System Reboot. Yeah, I guess, if y'all don't remember what happened in the comics, this is a many years ago spoiler, before Phase 2 happened. See how Soundwave is getting System Rebooted. Do you see what happened to Soundwave? Do you see what's missing on Soundwave? The top half of his head? It's because Optimus shot him and blew the top half of his head off. System Reboot. Yeah, that's what we're rebooting the system. That's all we're doing. We're not performing friggin' life-saving brain surgery. We're just rebooting a system. All right, can this be the pack I open, but then I keep? Let's see if I can do this carefully. We gotta bust the seal, but let's bust it clean. Let's do a clean bust. This is feeling like a clean bust. Follow the seam. And then... Okay. We slide you out. We did it. This is going into the binder. Hang on, I'll be right back. Why are you saving booster pack packaging? Well, because someone said, hey, you should save an American pack for when the Canadian ones come out so you can compare them. Well, there you go. It happened. Oh, we can actually do the side-by-side right now. Alright, here, get ready for it. So, here's our Canadian pack, right? With all of its stuff, all of its French and stuff. Here's the American and Malaysian packs, which are English only. So, this packaging is only in Canada. Which technically makes it more valuable. It's worth the 2-month delay. Nothing on these cards is bilingual, right? These are still the same cards, yeah. I thought maybe there might be like a bilingual copyright, but no, these are the same. I mean, I don't think there was like a special Canadian print run. I should ask that question. I don't know if they're allowed to talk about that, but nonetheless, I should ask it anyway. Buster Prime! Here's your solution. Thank you, Wave. Sign. Free, yes, Combaticon. Okay, yeah, Movie Prime with the Give Me Your Face card. I want the best thing ever. It would be cute. It would be on topic, but Destroy the Lab as a card. Destroy the Lab. Eat your opponent's discard pile. Yeah, Sean Crosser. It seems like they had to make new packaging because that's what will be seen on shelves, whether or not the cards are being bought. By the way, what card did I buy here? It's the common Starscream. To be fair, we saw 2 uncommon Starscreams. Technically, that is better draw than... Do you know what just happened? I never looked at the contents of this pack that I put down to go show you the booster packs. Well, we know what we're doing after this one, don't we? Hey, I got a free booster pack! Just looked down and saw that under the camera and was like, huh, who are you? Handheld Blaster, Piercing Blaster, Force Field, and Battle Ready. I think we've talked about all the commons now. Cargo Trailer! This is interesting. So this is trucks only. It's a utility, not a weapon or an armor. Whoever has this gets +1 attack for each cargo trailer. You can put up to 3 cargo trailers in 1 utility slot. So the idea of cargo trailer is you put 3 of them on someone and they get +3 attack in their utility slot. You then put a grenade launcher on them and they have +7 attack for 1 attack. The weakness of cargo trailer is it takes at least 2 turns to load up, at least 2 turns to load up all 3 trailers onto 1 character. And if the player across from you is watching that happen, they are probably changing their plan to get the cargo trailers off of that guy. So it's not like... It's not as good as it seems, but it's okay. Blast Shield, we haven't talked about this one. So Grenade Launcher was +4 attack, but you scrap the card. Blast Shield is +2 defense, but you scrap the card. So it's basically the sibling to Grenade Launcher. This is Transformers Devastation Silver League. You have 3 trailers, layered up. You're basically doing like a ponytail attack. Oh, and Power Sword. This goes with that body armor, so it's melee only. Body armor was tough 3. This is bold 3. Also, that's some that's some beefcake Grimlock art, if I do say so. All right, this pack. The character. Oh, I saw the name. It's the best card in the game. Let's see what the battle cards are. So, I know for a lot of folks, and myself included, the character cards are kind of the really exciting part of this game. They're why the packs are so large. They're very intense looking. They're what's going to be on the field for the whole game. Ever since my first booster box, I basically get more excited about what's in these because I really like deck building in this game. So we got Supercharge, we've got another data pad, Piercing Blaster, and a primary laser. We did it! Okay. Everyone who knows IDW, here you go. Salvage for parts. Scrap all upgrades, repair 1 damage from each character for each upgrade scrapped from it. So they're tossing their upgrades to repair themselves. The art that goes with that is an autopsy. Oh, this is this I think is my favorite no context use of art in the game. Because I can totally see it. Someone sees this panel, they're like, oh, yeah, parts. It's like, yeah, I guess that's one way you could parse an autopsy if the people doing it are horrible. Also, yeah, probably the goriest. This and Drill Arms. Drill Arms is the most squishy gore. This is the most robo gore. You can see all the bits. There's all of his pelvic plates. There's his jaw separate from the top of his face, and there's his helmet separate from his head. There's his legs. Oh yeah. Borderline pornographic. Well, pardon me, I seem to be drooling slightly. Put that in the rare pile. Multi-mission gear, this is one of the specialist gears. And a ramming speed, scrap an upgrade, plus an orange pip. It's a Dinobot card. It's more than a Dinobot card. It's in a couple decks. Alright. What's my favorite way to open these? Right, so here, if you're getting these boosters, by the way, I've talked about this before, but if this is your first stream where I'm talking about these, so these boosters are slightly... Your magic boosters are about this big. These are slightly bigger. These... I love how these feel. Because also you get, these 2 slats of cardboard in there. Sorry, slats is a destroyed word now. There's 2 planks of cardboard in there. It's good boosters foil noise. And it also... It's just big enough. This is my anecdote I always say, so pardon me. You've heard this before. It's just big enough so it feels like a prop in a movie where you, the main character, you are going to shrink more... But you've just started shrinking, not enough to notice you're shrinking, just that your card packs are now as big as your hand. Also, so we go up here to where the peg hole is, you pull this up, you put 1 finger here, you put 2 fingers here, and you're pulling against the join up there, and these will just slip open like a skinned person. Raccoon. Skinned raccoon is what I said. A skinned squirrel. A skinned... Not a person. Deadlock. Alright, this is actually, I think, the worst character in the game. There's a lot of characters people don't like. This is the only one where I literally can't see a salvageable situation in Wave 1 right now, and I have no idea what a salvageable situation is for him. He's an okay Decepticon car. 11 health ain't bad. He's 8 stars. He's a 3-2 or a 5-1. The stats are all fine, just a bit much for the star cost. And in this ability, flip to alt mode, choose an enemy. If it's KO'd, draw 2 cards. That's an incredibly specific and complicated situation to set up, where you're going to KO someone, but also flip this guy before it happens, and the payoff is you draw 2 cards. So, I don't think Deadlock is a very good card. I think this is actually the worst character card in the game right now. All the other ones have places in tribal decks. They have at least, lower tier uses. Deadlock is just this insanely specific condition that it takes so much planning to draw 2 cards. And in card tribals, there are better cards to use. His stats maybe are alright. It's just this is the case where I'm like, I'm a little confused how this came together through playtesting. I don't know what I'm missing. I should ask that at some point, where we see Deadlock being in this. Also, there's no drift in the game, just Deadlock. So it also means that, if drift isn't in Wave 2, then we have a meme going on. You wouldn't need rapid conversion. You don't have to transform the attacker. So if you have someone who's set up, ready to kill somebody, you can just flip this guy. You could use rapid conversion. You could also use start your engines, actually, and then untap this guy if you want to dedicate an entire card to him. Because, he works in start your engines. He works in a card deck. It's just, as far as I can tell, for 8 stars, there are other cards you probably want to use who are the same rarity or equal rarity. If he was 6, maybe even 7 stars, maybe, but at 8 stars, it's weird. Yeah, you have to transform him the same turn you KO someone. It says right here, this turn. It's so specific. And then, the payoff was do extra damage to someone else, repair damage from your own guys higher than 3 or 4 damage. But draw card advantage in this game is not hard to come by. I've shown you lots of cards. They don't let you draw 2 cards necessarily that you keep, but let's just go and take a look for my 2 faves. This one, you're drawing 2 cards and you're preloading your attack by putting 1 back. You're still seeing 2 cards. This one, you're seeing 3 cards. You have to toss 2 of them, but you're getting one of those 3 cards, and it's probably the one that's the most important. These 2 cards, to me, do a lot more than Deadlock does, and this is leaving out team-up tactics, where if you play team-up tactics on a car, you draw 2 cards, and it's just an action card. That's it. You just have to play it on a car. You play it on him, and you've done this by playing 1 card. So, last time I came down on a character card that hard, it was Sergeant Cup, and then he killed me with the Piercing Blaster. So I'm sure Deadlock will come to get me eventually, but right now, I don't get Deadlock, and I don't think there is anything to get on Deadlock, really. Let's see. Medic, Battle Ready, Rapid Conversion, that's some good stuff. Drill Arms, that's some blood. That's some good old-fashioned human juice. And Cybertonium Bow, that's, what, I pulled Nemesis. Disruptive Entrance is the action, look at your hand, and then Swap Missions. I love this. I've grown to love this card. Untap one of your tap characters, tap one of your untap characters. So it's I'm going to just attack you with Sunstorm. Wow, you're leading with Sunstorm. That gives me 2 turns to kill him before he can attack again. Nope. Next turn, instead of attacking with Chromia, I'm going to attack with Sunstorm again. I like this card a lot. I want lots of this card. Because it's another one that breaks the regular tempo of the game. And in this game, especially since there's no instant speed, I really like the way that tempo is broken in this, because it still is within logical spaces of time. Nothing against instant speed. I had this conversation with Jeff recently. I like instant speed, but I don't really like it anywhere except in Magic the Gathering. If that makes any sense. Oh, it's Skywarp. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, some little kid's gonna be real happy. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Now that this game's out in Canada, I'm now finally I have aside from building more decks, some of my dupes I could maybe like actually trade in for store credit. I'm sort of looking for. I'm going to try to do that tomorrow. If a certain guy, they told me there's a guy who handles that for Transformers at Harry Tarantula. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, Silver. Look at this weak box. What a weak box, garbage box. I should just throw it all out. I should take the whole box, just stuff it up. The garbage can. Bunch of gutter mines going on around here. Incoming transmission. Zap. It's like only my third zap so far. Static laser of Ironhide. That's a lot. My rare battle cards have not been great. I have not seen Peace Through Tyranny, I Still Function, or One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall. Those are the 3 battle cards that you should probably do a backflip for. Well, Energon Axe as well, and I got one of those. Swap missions. I just talked about how much I love it. Now I have 2. And Disarm. It's the Empire of Stone. I got a feeling Thu probably is going to end up. I feel like it would be abuse to send Thu like 7 copies of Skywarp, because I got a feeling that more than one person is thinking, I have a dumpster to put all my Skywarps in. Although I would like to see what Thu would do with like 30 copies of Skywarp. Like you could just in the Skywarp shelf, you just like blue tack them up as wallpaper. That'd be kind of cool with the shiny side. I'm giving you ideas. I don't know. I bumped my little arm that my phone is on. Oh no, Combaticon. What I'm saying is I think it'll be abuse because probably about 20 people will do that. And then it's going to be like, I've got a stack of cards this big and it's all Skywarp. I have a whole ton of a card I can't really use. Oh, the 3D card art stuff. That would be cool. Or a Skywarp cape. I'd be so down for that. But yeah, there's a 3D art thing where, actually, that would be kind of cool, where you take this and you use a knife and, like, knife out parts, and you start stacking the cards with different pieces knifed out. Oh, if you, like, knife out the highlights on here and put those up at the top, oh, that'd be really cool. I'm not skilled enough to even do one layer of that. I'd probably cut my hand open. But Flame War could probably pull it off. She could do it. Oh, I got plastic slipping. All right, it's time. I got to move these ones over to that side. I got to make, speaking of dumpsters, I got to make a plastic dumpster for at least some of this plastic to live in, because it's just getting everywhere. Get in there. Get in there. Get in there. Just stop spitting it back out. You can take more. You're tough. You're rambunctious. You can handle it. Oh, I gotta put something on top to hold that all in there. I'll put you 2 in as well. Let's see, can I just do this? Is it gonna... It's not heavy enough. Okay, here, Hot Rod. Come on. There. All right, we did it. Problem solved. You saw someone do that with Kamen Rider Gamba Rising cards, Black Hawk Omega. That would also look really freaking cool. Alright, let's see who's in here. Oh boy, how long? It's taken me over an hour and a half to go through this box. Efficient box openings this channel does not have. I actually get really... Sometimes I sit there and I'm just like, I wish I could just feel satisfied opening a box for 9 minutes tops and just talking about it and opening it and then it's done. That would be, what do they call it? Hang on, where's my pen? I gotta write that down. That would be, content. That would be content. Something this channel's sorely lacking right now. That would be some of that content. Well, now we know what this is content. Alright, we got a few more boosters here. Oh, come on! Give me this, at least! Did I go through these yet? I didn't even go through these yet. Rapid Conversion, Repair Bay, Brainstorm. I'm losing track of everything. And another salvage for parts. Alright, double gore porn on this channel Who needs monetization? Backup plan and power sword. My phone is not on fire because of oh, it's actually starting to feel kind of hot compared to how it felt an hour ago. All right, let's get going on this. I might just talk about the rares, if that's okay with you all. I would hate for the stream to end in an overheated phone. For crying out! I heard you were talking about me. I heard someone was saying bad things about me. Oh, get out of here. Alright, let's see what we got in here. I hope, by the way, going by how the last stream went in the comments and stuff, I hope this has been helpful, especially if you haven't been playing the game, to at least, like, get a glimpse into how this works. Even if it doesn't interest you, hopefully you at least kind of get, like, how much I'm enjoying it. It's relevant. I didn't do a box opening for, like, Warhammer cards, so you can't say I've fully sold out my this. Yeah, build the trash deck with 3 deadlocks. God! He's an 8-star. That would be 24 points. That would be perfect, too. 3 deadlocks and a bunch of Cybertonium bows. Oh, God. No. Swap parts. Ooh. All right, yeah, we haven't seen this one yet. This is the one that goes with you, turbo boosters. So, you put turbo boosters on someone, on a car, you untap them. Then you play swap parts, move this to another car, untap them. That's what swap parts is good for. Also, it's cute because it's like swap parts. He's like, hey, you want to swap? And it's like, first aid? I read the books. He's not swapping that. I'm sorry, you're just giving him a data pad. This isn't a swap. I know you want it to be. Good luck. Multi-tool. It's scary. And disruption. It's wrong. Alright. How many packs do we have left? I'm just going to dig these out so we have a idea of time. That's more than I thought. 6 packs remaining. Alright, so if you were to start watching the video now, you'd see my sealed pool for one of the types of sealed people said they've played at their friendly local gaming stores. I think the actual sealed for this game, though, is 4 packs, which is a lot more kind. Whoever this is, it's 12-star character. Oh, and I can see this is the Common Optimus. It's the Common Optimus. We haven't pulled one yet. I pulled like 4 of him from my first booster box. It's getting better. Common Optimus is not bad. They did a Common Optimus and Megatron because they wanted you to be able to pull characters you know if you're just Joe Public off the street. Do you think I can get these out of the way before the phone starts melting? We'll see. If it starts dribbling onto my leg, I'll know it's melting. But this Optimus actually he's pretty good. He's very just like there, but as far as being a common card you're probably gonna pull, he's a 12-star character with 15 health. He's a 5-2 in robot mode, a 6-1 in truck mode. Flip to this mode, repair a damage from each Autobot, so you kind of want to run a full Autobot team. And then in this mode, he's got bold too. He's just a basic, strong card. He can hold the Matrix Leadership, he can hold the Optimus Prime gun, he can carry cargo trailer. Like, if you're just getting into the game, you get a couple packs, there's a good chance you'll pull this Optimus Prime, and then it's like, hey, I got a totally decent Optimus Prime. I can build a totally decent deck around him. These piles are getting uneven. I was all like, yeah, let's do this quick little stream, open up a booster box, and I'm gonna go play some Fortnite or some Battlefield or something. It'll be easy. And it's like, no, I'm gonna go pass out after this. Combaticon, he is melee holding a gun. You'll notice he's pointing. So this gun, it's just for show. Common Optimus is like, I could shoot you. Instead, I shall poke you. Alright, Zap. Piercing Blaster. Improvised Shield. This is one of the 2 pieces of Regeneration 1 art, I think, along with Treasure Hunt. Inspiring Leadership. Team Up Tactics, I was just talking about you. So yeah, so for trucks, it's Repair 2. For cars, it's Draw 2. It's pretty good. The one thing about pulling this in a booster, if you get the starter deck, you get 2 of this in the starter deck, which I think is pretty cool for a starter deck. It also means pulling it in a booster is cool exactly once. And then you're like, oh wait, now I have a playset. I mean, you have the moment. I have a playset of rares. I'm a badass. But then you pull a second one, you're like, I guess I'll make 2 playsets of it. Plasma Burst, it's Turmoil. Ramming Speed, it's Headbutts. Alright. Let's keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's do this. They said we couldn't. They said you can't do another Boostershred stream. You can't do content. Like, actually, you know what? We're at this point. Let's friggin'... Where's my pen? You know what? I'm gonna use the Sharpie. Let's just... My pen's over there. I just saw it. Oh, well, whatever. You can't do... content... well, I can. And you can't stop me, Johnny YouTube. All right. Let's get this open. Let's see who the card is. Autobot, I haven't seen you in this entire booster box, and I pulled like 18 of you that one time. All right, well, Hound, I've still not actually made a use for. He's a truck, but he works a lot like a car, I find, in that he wants to flip white. So I know people have made use of him, I just haven't yet. He's one of those ones who I want to make use of. Yeah, I can't see the rest of my N. There we go. Look, it's 3D. Ooh, I must knock my glass over. I don't think I've pulled a single Dinobot. There is definitely one Dinobot I'd like to pull, if I'm being honest with y'all. Alright, we got Brainstorm, new designs, reinforced plating, leap into battle. One shall stand, one shall fall. It's one of those ones I was complaining about not getting another copy of. I like this one. You choose one of your characters and an enemy character. They each take 3 damage. I like stuff where you get hurt to hurt them. I also like this because it's kind of like, if the game's close, but not HP close, then you're kind of like, hey, guess what? I have 4 HP and you have 3. I win. I kind of like that. Also, I like this in planes where you can transfer that 3 damage that went to you back to the opponent pretty quickly. Multi-mission gear and bug bomb. I want someone to join the stream now so that they can see my little sign I made and just be like, what the hell? What is this? Why are you doing a stream after that at friggin' 1:45 in the morning? BioFreak 2, I joined the stream as you made the sign. Well, you were the last one in. Chromia! Ooh! Ooh! It's Chromia! So she's my other rare of my potentially 3 rare super rares, which is usually the balance in one of these boxes. She's part of Stormchopper. I like Chromia a lot. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Chromia is weird. There's lots of reasons I found people don't like her that are they're not bad. I love her in Stormchopper, though. She's the chopper in Stormchopper, because if I flip at least 2 white, I draw 2 cards. That means she starts pumping Sunstorm, then the enemy has to kill her, because she attacked first, and then I have other cards pumping Sunstorm, and, hey, Mechanova King, I was wondering if you're still here! Commander Matt, I've been here an hour and I don't know what's going on. If that makes you feel better, Vangelus. I don't do card games, so this is all right over my head. That's cool. Thank you for sticking around, nonetheless. How many rare characters are there in the set total? I can't remember, but the actual booster pack product page for this on the Hasbro site for the TCG has listings by rarity of what cards are available. I just can't remember off the top of my head how many rares there are. There are a few. Darcy G, you can mix Autobots and Decepticons. Early on, I asked this question in one of the interviews, and basically in early playtesting, they tried having it be faction-specific, and basically, by letting you mix characters now, they're skipping the step where a bunch of people say, in Wave 2, can we have a card that allows cross-faction teaming? So now they're just like, what if we just say you can cross-faction team, and if you don't like that, you can just make a team of only Autobots or only Decepticons. Right now, if you're making a Planes deck, there's 1 Autobot plane, but the rest are Decepticons. There's only Autobot Dinobots, there's only Decepticon Insecticons. There's currently only Decepticon tanks if you haven't got Metroplex. So you can make it 1 faction only if you want to, basically. Commander Matt, thank you for giving me something to watch while I exercise, Heart. Good on you for exercising. You know what I should do more? Exercise. I do a lot of walking. I do a lot of super long walking. Enough that it helps. But one day, you know what I've never really done? I've never done the whole, like, pick a day and make that the exercise day. I used to when I was fencing because that's just how it works when you're setting up recreational sporting events, but I haven't fenced in Toronto like at all. All my gear's here still. I'm just too chicken to go places, because back in BC, if I went fencing, it's because, like, my parents were running it, and thus I was assistant coaching, and thus I was helping run it, thus I knew everybody, and it was all cool. Over here, I don't know anybody, and I always assume that other clubs are super hyper-competitive, and I'm not. So, one of these days, I gotta get back into fencing out here in Toronto. Flamethrower, improvised shields, scrapper gauntlets, zap. And see, it happened already. 2 team-up tactics. If I had only bought a starter deck and this booster box, I'd now have a dupe rare. Armed hovercraft. We haven't seen this one yet. Also, interesting note, I like this art a lot. It's Lockdown's appearance in the game. And Kamen Rider V3, I believe, is right over here, off-screen. I like this card a ton in Plains decks, and Mechanova King has made good use of this card with Inferno. Put it on a ranged character, do 1 damage to each enemy. Like, unblockable, basically. And then with Inferno, bounce it back to your hand and then play it again. You have to use an effect to play it again, but still, it's like, oof. Oof. Oh my god. Okay, speaking of the Strafing Run. These are 2 cards I love in Plains decks because they're indirect damage. And check it out. They both basically do the same thing. Play these 2 cards, you've done 2 damage to everyone on the opposing team in 1 turn. All within the rules. All nice and legal. Mechanova King, it sounds like you're on the fence about it. You could say that. You could say that. Darcy G, I'll be honest, I dropped too much money on this card game. Darcy, I have as well. But also, I did that when I was playing it. If you have not learned to play it yet, hey, Darcy, I'm pointing at you now, Darcy G. You should learn how to play this game. You put all the money into it, you should learn how to play it. Did you know pointing backwards at a camera that has the same vantage point as your eyes is really hard? Look at my wrist right now. Like, my arm is coming forward, and then my hand, like, look at all the, All right, anyway, who's my character? Right after I said, hey, Hound. It's real nice how you haven't shown up 18 times in this booster box. Like, 2 in a row. Look at these jerks. Biofreak 2, what does it play most similar to? I have heard Pokemon, I have heard Cardfight Vanguard, I have heard a little bit of Duel Masters. The only thing it really has in common with Magic are the people who worked on it, and the fact that this game gets to use the word tap. It's a little painful to point directly back at myself. Like, I'm kind of turning my hand 180 degrees. I don't know, I find it kind of difficult. Oh, Silver League, like, sometimes a box will just be cruel to you. But the nice thing is, if a box is cruel to you, these cards are all still extremely useful. You might not get all the characters you want, but you'll have the deck. And that's the important thing, in my opinion. Hey, but it was cool. Oh, you got a Grimlock, Darcy G. Well, it was worth it then. That Grimlock is worth a quarter of one of those booster boxes. Or a quarter of that whole purchase. He's worth about half a booster box. This plays more like Pokemon than Vanguard, to be honest, says Wavesign. I don't know either of those games. That's why I just say both, because I'm sure there was a reason someone told me Cardfight Vanguard. I'm sure there's a reason someone told me Pokemon. I'll just say both. And then I'll let the people who played those games fight it out. I saw the double pips in the rare slot. I knew it was Peace Through Tyranny. This is another one of those 3 really cool cards that has Megatron on it. It's I Still Function, One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall, and Peace Through Tyranny. They are the 3 battle cards, along with Energon Axe, so I guess 3 of the 4 battle cards. They're the 3 actions that are just, you pull them and you're like, that was worth the booster pack. This one, you can KO one of your characters who has 6 stars or more, and then take another turn. So this is a way to kind of finish out a game. Most people use this because it's a double orange pip, which is big on, aggressive decks. Decks that are, I would say, if you're going to draw a Magic the Gathering comparison, they're kind of like the red decks, kind of. We got a Bug Bomb. And then we got us an Aerial Recon, which we talked about way back at the beginning of this stream, if I recall correctly. All right, we got 2 packs left, so take note, whatever I draw out of these 2, you could legally say is a deck for 2 packs sealed. So if you don't want to buy 2 packs, just assemble what you saw on these cards, bring this video with you, and say, look, here are all these cards getting randomly drawn out of 2 packs. Therefore, they are my 2-pack sealed deck. I'm sure that'll go over great with all your friends. It's a pre-con sealed 2-pack sealed deck is what we're making here. So this deck features Kickback, who we haven't seen yet in this whole box. Kickback is kind of like the linchpin of the aggro Insecticon deck. When he attacks in robot mode, his base attack is 0, but you flip 2 cards when he attacks, as per the rules, but then you flip 2 more battle cards for each Insecticon you started the game with. If you're playing 4-character team Insecticons, you're flipping 8 cards every time he attacks in robot mode. If you build for solid orange pips, that means he's coming in with 8 damage. It's pretty darn cool. You flip to this, and he can repair a damage from one of your Insecticons when he damages an enemy. It's okay. I'm sure this actually has some uses beyond what I'm saying, but this is the money. This is why you use this guy. All right. So, actually, I'll put him over here. This is part of our team. He's going to go on top of the cardboard. Alright. Yeah, I've also heard the Cardfight Vanguard comparison from one of the first guys who played Double Prime in a deck tech video. On something Wolf Games, Lone Wolf Games. Anyway, apparently Cardfight Vanguard's notion of proportions applies to the pip thing in this game for deck building. Rapid Conversion, Zap, Piercing Blaster, Improvised Shield. Oh boy. Shock Absorbers. Nice to see ya. Wouldn't want to... Blast Shield and Power Sword. Alright. You know what? I just split all those cards across here right after I said we'll make a deck. Let me go fish them back out. It was 4 cards. It was this rare. It was these 2 uncommons. Those go on Kickback. We're going to make our sealed deck come hell or high water. The final pack of the booster box. If it's not one of those 3 rares I don't have, I still have some to pursue in my trades. It's Swoop! We finally got a Dinobot! Not the one I wanted. Okay, now I know what I'm going to go trade for at Air Tarantula. Hopefully tomorrow. No one else go there to buy those cards, please. I'm going to go do it. Alright, so Swoop and Kickback. That's a small team. That's 11 stars. So that means 11 stars. So in 2-pack sealed... the star difference between your characters gets applied as damage to the team with more stars. The upside is, if I run this as a team, I'm probably going to be laying a bunch of damage on my opponent when they play, no matter what happens, because this is the 2 smallest kind of characters in the game right now. So let's see what our deck is. We got Medic, Battle Ready, Rapid Conversion, Drill Arms, Matrix of Leadership, which I can't use on either of those characters, so I'm hoping to flip it because it's got the good pips that are on rollout, Aero Recon, and Equipment Enthusiast. So we haven't seen these 2 yet. Matrix Leadership. This is a card I have run 2 of at the same time in the field on Super Rare Bumblebee and Jazz. So you can flip it for 1 of each. This and Rollout are the only cards in the game that do that right now. Only goes in Autobots. This is like the only card in the game that's particular about this so far, to the point of actually bothering me a little bit. So while this is just a +1 utility to your attack, but if it's on a leader, each of your other characters also gets +1 attack, and they get Pierce 1. So if you have this on 2 characters, the character in the middle between them gets +2 attack and Pierce 2, which is pretty cool. And then Equipment Enthusiast, draw a card for each of your upgrades. This is big with Sunstorm and my Stormtrooper deck. Anyway, what's our deck? So we got Kickback, and we've got Dinobot Swoop. Kickback's abilities are pointless. He's basically a vanilla. Dinobot Swoop, when he flips to this mode, he can move a damage from himself to an enemy. That's kind of Plains-like. So we are just kind of coming in, we're going to peck at you, and hope you don't punch us really hard. Let's see, how much equipment do we have? Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pieces of equipment. So Equipment Enthusiast, not necessarily a dead draw. Medic, repair 2 damage, we're going to be using that. Battle Ready is an upgrades-based thing. It's equipment thing that could help. Rapid Conversion is always helpful. Zap is always helpful. Double Rapid Conversion means we can at least flip back and forth. We could maybe do some stuff with Swoop. I don't think this deck's actually very good. But it's hard to assess a sealed deck because it's not like it's going up against, you know, like super constructed decks. So go ahead and try running that deck next time you want to play 2-pack sealed with your friends. And we'll see what goes on. Hello, Fred Bob. You are here. This is definitely the tail end of the stream. Not gonna lie. My throat's dying. But yeah, that is my last Wave 1 booster box. I was going to show you the thing I'm putting my battle box into. Please give me a second, and I will clean up some space. Out of there, Hot Rod. Hot Rod, you little pig. Rolling around in the trash. Sorry, the recycling. Hot Rod? Huh? Little the dude from Charlie Brown with all the stuff. You know? The dude from Charlie Brown with all the stuff. You know, that one. Let's get the recycling reboxed up. You could never tell someone opened this. I could just go back to Harry Tarantula and sell them this back. Tell them I decided, nah, I'm not playing this game. I am here to give you back. I am here to return this sealed booster box to you, dear seller of cards. I would like my money back on this sealed booster box. Alright, my contents. I feel like I should keep this. What should I do with this? Does anyone want this? I'll bring it to a convention. If someone wants it, let me know. I'll try to not lose it before the next convention that I go to. I'll put it somewhere I'll remember it. Just put it on top of the nearest pile of things. So let's get these cards out of the way. Get these rares out of the way. These uncommons out of the way. And get these character cards out of the way. That is Soto in the corner, yes. Yes, it is. Wave sign a Patreon reward. Hey guys, I've been running this Patreon campaign kind of like a dog show. Thanks for sticking around. I decided to finally reward one of you. Whoever decides to become a $20 patron, I will send you 2 pieces of cardboard that I wrote the word content on. Don't worry, there's also 2 exclamation marks. I'll sign it. It'll be collectible. Any good bot boss recently? I need to actually ask you guys a question while I get my battle box in. So I cheated. Like, I'm sure some of you were here for the ball shred stream. I cheated, and I found out about the codes on the back of the single-packed, blind-pack bots, and I just specifically bought ones that should be the ones I don't have. I haven't opened them yet. They're all still in a bag, because I was like, do I get to stream these? Because if I stream them, we know that they're all going to be new. Technically, there's going to be no surprise there. I don't remember what number goes with who, now that I don't have the list with me anymore, so I'll still be surprised who comes out. But I wasn't sure if it would be a soulless stream. If it would be a fake box unboxing stream. Oh yeah, bot birthing. Seeing you react to them is the point. That felt weird to say out loud, but I like it. Alright, I'll save them then. I'll do another stream later on some other time. I'll keep them in ball. I'll keep them mint in ball. And we'll do a stream for those. Right, I have to actually get the recycling out of my way. Ugh. So the way I'm probably going to carry my battle box around, I got a couple of these quiver cases, because I had one of those moments where I saw a quiver case, and I was like, well, these are cool, and then they were all on sale, and I was like, oh, I should order the 4 colors over time, and then they were like, on September 1st, we must unfortunately stop having them on sale, and finally sell them at the retail price, so I bought 4 of them. So the quiver is just it's a big, long card case. It has, you can attach straps to it on these, like, rings. I just don't have them attached because it's easier for me to carry it like a stick, but you can, like, sling it across your back like a quiver if you want to. I just like it for the sheer amount of cards that fit in it, and the amount of different kinds of cards that fit in these things. So the purple one, I figure that's the most Transformers relevant color. So right now, it's got 4 decks inside and all my dupes. I have a binder that's organized with my actual cards, but this is for this weekend if we go and do some cardsing of Transformers. Over here, in the blue and the red, this is the starter deck, because I've ended up with a couple copies of some things. So this is a starter deck that I'm just going to keep stock, and the characters are up here, along with the characters for the Metroplex deck, which is the blue deck here, that I'm also that's a Metroplex deck that'll stay stock. The brand manager said that the stock starter and stock Metroplex decks were balanced against each other, so I wanted to keep copies of them stock to, just try playing that game. Or if someone hasn't played the game before, and they don't want to use one of my all-commons learner decks I made out of my dupes, I've got the precons right here. The purple one here is Shadow Play. I dipped into my normal card stock to just make a precon Shadow Play because I wanted to start that process. And some of the cards that I dipped into weren't in here, but I know Harry T has them, so I might just grab them single. The gray sleeves are my 2 play sets that I use for brewing. So right now these are Piercing Rubber, I believe. No, wait, what are they? They're Piercing Rubber and the Seekers. Which is just like my deck that has Thundercracker instead of Slipstream, and my Cars deck I talked about before with Jazz and Bumblebee using double matrices. These are the things I use for damage tokens. These are actually something that was made for Netrunner, but I just thought they were really pretty, and I think that they're still very Transformers thematic. These are by Arbits, Aurbits. I love these things. Arbits makes a lot of stuff. Netrunner is also a game I went nuts over that I still have never played. But Arbit stuff is all made on like a mixture of like card and fiberglass. It's basically made a whole lot like circuit boards. So it's like circuit board material, but with art print on the top that's actually plated in like metal. Like, where is it? The 5 counter here is I believe actually plated with some gold. So I just use them as like, this is 1 damage, this is 5 damage. They look like circuitry, so they're like, you know, they work with robots. They make clinky noises when you bang them together because they've got that little bit of metal on the outer side. And according to Orbits, they are extremely hard to damage because they're made of like circuit board material. So I like these things. Also, you can flip one if you want to pick who goes first because it's, you know, dark side, light side. So that's what I use for damage tokens. Everything else in here was like, these are my inner sleeves I use. This is just for if I picked up a few more cards. This is where all my dupes are living. And then this is the precon aerial misdirection deck I want to make. This is the sleeve color it's getting. And this is from my dupes what was on the deck list. I got to fill this out some more. So this will go with Shadow Play in purple. And I just got some orange sleeves to go with these. This will be Storm Chopper. So the Storm Chopper deck, oh, I don't have it actually built because this is incomplete. Basically, it's Sunstorm and Chromia and Ransack. The idea is Chromia and Ransack are kind of your interference. Chromia is trying to do early card build into your hand to get your hand big, because Sunstorm's robot mode, his attack is equal to the number of cards in your hand. I have once had 17 cards in hand with Sunstorm, and it was real fun. So Chromia tries to get you some cards early, so Sunstorm becomes like a viable attacker early on. Ransack is there to just be a third threat, and Sunstorm is there to get you a big hand of cards, and you just want to slap people with them. So anyway, that's why I'm running this thing as a battle box. All the rest of this is dupes. This is where I put my dupe characters, and then over here is where I put my dupe battle cards. It's all my trading fodder, or what I pull from when I want to make more precons. Leftovers over here from a different game. Those are my Warhammer rare dupes. I put them in top loaders because they're fancy. Darcy G. Storm Chopper and Shadow Play. Whoa! It just coughed its top loaders all over my lap. That's embarrassing. Storm Chopper and Shadow Play are kind of special to me because everything about them I thought up myself on the version 1 of those deck lists before I ever got any other input from playing or from seeing other deck lists. Since then, they're modifications. You know, they've been tweaked with info I've seen online or from practical play, but the core of those decks I made up by myself. I'm not saying other people didn't make it up too. There's only, 40 characters and 80 cards. It's likely other people thought them up. But for me, in my own little personal world, those 2 decks I came up with by myself. All the other decks, I do brew them myself. I don't really net deck this game. Because this game I find really nice because it is easy to not net deck and still feel like you're doing something. Partly because the card pool's just started. But Piercing Rubber was kind of entirely original. It was based on the idea of cars, and it's like I didn't invent the idea of doing tribal decks. So like my Plains deck and my cars decks, or my Plains decks and my cars deck, I came up with by myself, but it's like I'm pretty sure the choices I made are the ones a lot of people made. I wouldn't really like take much credit for them. But this is a game that like I really encourage with this game. Like you don't really need to net deck with this game, especially because like if you're net deck, like you can net deck to like get some ideas, and you shouldn't feel bad about doing that. It's just like I do that in Magic all the time, mostly because I don't understand the sheer breadth of the Magic the Gathering card pool because it's 25 years old. But like in this game, with the card pool just being 1.5 waves old so far, it's really viable to just kind of like logic some stuff out and then modify it based on play. When I modify a deck based on play, my main thing I do is I think of the last time I played this deck. What were cards that ended up stinking up my hand? Like, what were cards that I barely actually used? What were cards where I looked at them in my hand and I managed to go like, man, I wish this wasn't in my hand right now. And then those are usually the first cards I think about cutting, and figuring out what to replace them with. It's fun to do. Fun to building. Any, like, super weird, obscure characters in this I can build around like the hipster trash I am. Absolutely. One of them is a common. Where is she? I got her twice. Flame War is possibly the most obscure character in the entire Wave 1. She's super, like she is a BotCon exclusive character twice. That's it. So you can build around her super easy because she's a 5-star character. The team limit is 25 stars. 5 stars is the smallest star count in Wave 1. Metroplex introduced 3 4-star characters, but like she's super like unique to build around. What's a good amount to spend on the game to start at? If you're cool with buying a booster box, you're set. But like you could buy like 6 packs and I think you could still do something with them. Card size or deck size is 40 battle cards and 25 points of characters. Out of 6 packs, there's a good chance you'll pull that. Like I was saying earlier, there's also a format of this where you just open 2 packs. That's your team playing against another open to 2 packs. If you want to like just get going super cheap and go up from there. This isn't a game where I feel where you actually have to do it. Like, if you want to collect literally everything in play sets and then make like standalone decks, then like you become, kind of dumb like me. But like you don't have to. When doing deck building, do you throw in useless cards for double colored pips? Yes, that's kind of what some of those ones are for, in my opinion. If you're building towards orange, you're going to use that armor card where you're probably never going to actually equip it as armor. You're having it in the deck because you want to flip 2 orange pips on your attacks. And that's what a lot of decks do. It's not the only way to use them, and it's not the only way to build those decks, but that is a completely viable tactic that is proven to work in the mathematics of the game. What are those common riders off to the side? How many girl bots are currently in the game? Female characters in the game are RC, Chromia, and Flame War. Oddly, all 3 motorcycles. And then if you got the Gen Con San Diego Comic-Con exclusive pack, Slipstream was in there. Unfortunately, that pack has become ridiculously hard to find, and I'm pretty sure in all the times they've ever answered questions about it, everyone working on the game sounds a little regretful about how that went. So I suspect we're probably not going to run into a situation like that ever again, unless this game really picks up and then like business tie money people really stick their fingers in. Where was I going with that? Those common riders off the side. Those are some of my Sodos. That's another Shtream I want to do sometime. It's just I don't want to like build an entire wave on stream because it will take forever, and I don't actually really want to talk while I do it because I barely will have time to look at the chat. But these are the armor action bodies for Zeo and Gates. These are going out of print as of Wave 5, but they're still making 3 more armors for this one. So I figured like, hey, these are weird ones, and if you're collecting this series. And if you're a lunatic like me and you're collecting 1 armor body for every single armor suit, doubling up when the armor suit has 2 different helmets, because both characters have worn it in the show, you're probably going to be doing a lot of these. So I figured I'd do 1 of each to show that process in a little casual stream. Verspringen. What kind of things do you think the game needs in the future? Like, do you think the mechanics are good enough, or does it need new characters and items? Or just needs new characters and items, or does the gameplay itself need some tweaks? I think that the beauty of this game is that they have an extremely simple engine built on the back of, or on that extremely simple engine, on the back of that, they also have the rule which is basically take the cards literally. Because of that, you have stuff like Metroplex, who introduces a new mechanic, but it's on the card, and the system of the game is so simple that the people working on this, because they're smart enough, are building a fairly complex game, if you want it to be, that is also learnable by children, ages 8 and up. So the base engine, I don't think needs a lot of tweaks. I think it is like coming up with interesting ways to modify it. Like the Metroplex deck comes out, and they added 4-star characters. They added a deployment mechanic on the Metroplex card. They added Titans. And they added specifically 4-star cars and tanks to 2 tribals that kind of needed those star counts. So it's stuff like that where it's like they're not going to like reinvent the game, but they're going to introduce something where it's like, hey, what's not in the game right now on a real specific level? Maybe there'll be a card that doesn't. That's the kind of stuff that I'm more interested to see. That I think would be the focus of this game moving forward. Like changing the whole engine, going like, now you're allowed to attack twice, or like, or even worse, you're allowed to skip attacking now. Like, I don't think that would ever happen, and I wouldn't want it to happen. The game is kind of balanced around the fact that, like, you have to attack. You have to tap a character and attack every turn. That's an entire balancing point of the thing. I have seen Spider-Verse. I think it's art. I like it a lot. I listened to the Spider-Verse Christmas, not the whole album. I didn't know they did the whole album. Well, no, I did. I saw the Twitter post. But I've only listened to the song that was in the credits. Darcy G, if they did a combiner team, I didn't mechanically think it would work in regards to the star mechanics. Well, I thought about this when Metroplex came out. So Metroplex is a 25-star character. Therefore, he's your entire team. But the card says when this card starts in the game, it starts with these 3 characters underneath it. And in that, they basically said, the rules say you can only have 25 stars of characters on the field when the game starts. Metroplex skirts that because his card says on the card, put 3 more under him that are not necessarily in the field. When you flip to robot mode, it says, deploy any character card currently under Metroplex. Which means they also, in my opinion, they created the Soundwave Blaster mechanic with Metroplex. So, with combiners, I suspect, like, that's to me, that's kind of the clue. It's like, the precedent is now there for characters that can interact with the game to not necessarily start the game in the field. Thanks, the Metroplex deck opened my eyes a lot to the potential of this game. Karagira, more curious how combiners will distribute the cards out. Yeah, I mean that's definitely a question to ask. Like, the big question to ask is the super rares are 1 in 72 boosters. Granted, there's only 2 of them in Wave 1, and I doubt we'll ever see more than 2 in a wave. So they're probably not going to be involved in a combiner, but nonetheless, like, you want to ask that question, right? Did I ever try the Elder Scrolls Legends Online card game? I have not. I'm hydrating. Don't mind me. What else did I miss? Surprised there isn't a Windblade yet? Because, yeah, Windblade was that was the early spoiler they put up for Wave 2, was the 2 pieces of art for the Windblade card. And they've said many times of late, well, in the last month, all the official sources have basically implied, like, we'll start talking about Wave 2 in January, February. So, technically, we're probably like a month and a half out from starting to hear more about Wave 2. Which, timing-wise, makes a lot of sense to me, because I think that's about how long Wave 1 plus Wave 1.5, that being Metroplex, has got until people start going like, alright, need something new in this, I think. Are there mechanics I'd like to see in the game outside of combiners? I suggested a few in the podcast I recorded with the brand manager, who is great about putting up with that. Like, he's very good at doing the, that's an interesting idea kind of thing. Because I was like, hey, what were the ones I suggested? I was like, hey, we should have Action Masters, so you can have Omega Shtream in this. I'm now on 2 podcasts. Every time we podcast with him now, I just keep bringing up Omega Shtream and how, the Omega Shtream fan community would be fine if Omega Supreme were in the game, if you just did an alternate art version of it to be his superior brother. But, we'd be fine with that in the community. But, I was like, Action Masters would be cool where, if you flip them, instead of transforming, they flip into like a powered up mode. But this is before the Metroplex deck, which introduced Slammer, who's not only a 4-star tank, he's currently the only character in the game who does not have a bot mode. He's only in alt mode, so he doesn't flip. So now that's in the game, too. I mentioned for Headmasters, I was like, Headmasters would be kind of cool if a Headmaster card was like this big, right? Like one of those Titan Return pieces of art, and then it's the robot standing there, but then the art cuts off up here, and then there's one of these cards where it's like on this side it's a Nebulon, and then on this side it's like the rest of the art, so then you'd like lay it here, and now you'd have the Headmaster who gets the benefits of both pieces of card text as an idea. And obviously, because this is how it works with professionals who create stuff, his answer was like, that would be interesting. He's very good at doing those answers, that Drew Nolasco, because it basically means every time you ask him a question, he makes it sound like you guessed something, even if you didn't. And then you're like, I'm Nostradamus! Biofreak 2, gotta sleep now. Have a good night. Have a good sleeping. Yeah, need that Sunstreaker and Hunter Donyon. Picky Peeves, I remember those interviews. Yeah, you can listen to them again if you like. I have a bias. I'd like everyone to watch all my videos all the time, because it helps me. Also, what I'll say is we are definitely interviewing Drew again. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to make sure to cross-post that to YouTube. The next YouTube cross-post I got to edit another podcast, and then I'm going to... Actually, I'm in the position to do it now. I'm going to take all of our talk from the last 2 episodes that went up of me and Seth, and then me and the Evens, and then me and the Odds, talking about the color photos of MP44. That's going to go up as a podcast excerpt on here whenever I cut it together. I decided that I always wanted to do the whole talks about the news stuff on YouTube, and I was always like, man, I talk about it on the podcast all the time, and I don't do it here. And then it's like, why don't I just trim that piece out of the podcast? The reason I don't do it and then just put it up is because trimming out like a 30 to 45 minute piece of a podcast means I have to render a 30 to 45 minute video, which it turns out still takes forever, even if the video is barely even animate. So I have to like set up for it, and then I always forget to. But yeah, I'm trying. That's what I can say. I'm trying. Verspringen, us talking about the MP44 price, I did put up on here, because me and Seth talked about the MP44 price that was known, the gray prototype pictures that were known, and then all the rumored feature lists. We recorded that podcast, and like 18 hours later, all the actual info went up, and I was like, I'm going to bed! So there is it should be one of the recent videos up this month, is me and Seth talking about the pricing of MP44. Mostly focusing on that. And then there's also going to be bits in there of us talking about, like, I wonder what small ball is, and, like, you know, now we know everything it comes with. Because, yeah, it's up there, basically. It's from episode 500 something or other from a couple weeks ago, but the excerpt of us talking about the pricing is on YouTube by itself. I didn't actually look at the chat that whole time. You basically said, okay, I'll listen to it like ages ago. Thank you for putting up with that. Carrot Gear, I want to get in the podcast. Best place to start, episode 1. I hate it when people listen to our old episodes because all of our mics sucked and we were all 10 years younger, and I don't like the notion that I used to exist 10 years ago and that now I'm 10 years older. So I always say, just listen to the most recent episode and then kind of bounce around from there. Our podcast is weird. We go off topic a lot, but I prefer it that way. It's in a comfortable place right now. It's not the best Transformers podcast out there. And speaking as the guy who does all the editing and organizing, I'm completely fine with that. We're just a weird kind of casual podcast. We podcast in a way that leaves us all satisfied. And also, you can't make money doing a podcast unless you put you can't make money doing a podcast unless you roll a couple natural 20s, and I don't think there's any chance WTF would ever make money, especially since it's the money it makes is not money. It's I get free hosting on TFW to put this podcast up. And very little oversight because the guy who runs TFW is super cool about it. But that also means there's a certain ceiling on how much effort I want to put into the podcast. Because like there's never going to be returns except for the entertainment of the probably couple hundred who listen. Podcasts killed Audio Sonic. Get woke, guys. No, I mean, the thing about WTF at TFW, sponsorship for that podcast gets immediately complicated because we're hosted by TFW, and thus sponsorship becomes their problem. And the TFW admin is kind of like, man, unless this is really a thing, like, that's going to be a whole bunch of work for kind of nothing. And I agreed with them. And I would rather just have this, you know, perpetual ability to have my podcast hosted. Like, I don't think I think if I was going to put the effort into doing that for the podcast, my immediate thing I would say is, why aren't I putting this effort into the YouTube channel that I wholly run and control? Yeah, those McElroy boys, once they left our podcast and went to do their video games and culture thing, let me tell you, they were never on our podcast. I'm lying. But yeah, like, you can just listen to any podcast, really. How do you resist the urge to sleeve every Keyforge deck you get? I don't. I sleeve them all. But I bought the clear matte dragon shields so I can still see my unique card backs, because I paid for those, damn it! Any takes on Siege? We were talking about Siege since it was shown... Or do you mean in hand? Because that's in the last... Over the last, I think, 4 episodes, we've been talking about Siege in hand because we've actually been getting it. I know that the episode I haven't edited yet has a whole lot of Siege in hand talk, and the episode before that, which would be the one that's currently the newest one, should also have a lot of Siege talk. That should be an odd-numbered episode, and the even-numbered one before that, I believe, has some Siege talk as well, because I think that's when Aaron got the Voyagers. But I don't remember all this stuff very well. I gotta apologize. I've been spoiled in that the few times I really, really want to know when something was said in a podcast, if I ask it on another podcast, there's about 3 or 4 folks. I don't know how they do it, but and they don't always manage to pull it off, but very often they'll just show up in the thread and say, the thing you were wondering about was in episode, number. And I'm just like, huh. Don't know how you knew that, because I don't, and I was there. Picky Peeves, I'm not like attached. I don't hate the art for the Grimlock card. I'm not really like, super attached to it either. It's kind of middle ground for me. It's become a positive reinforcement when I see it, because I connotate that with, that's an expensive card I don't have. So, like, right now, it just is automatically positive. If y'all always want, like, a little capsule thought on Siege Wave 1, because I got it for super cheap off of all those glitches on Hasbro Toy Shop, and, like, we Canadians actually managed to get free shipping out of that, and I can't believe it. The Deluxes are all good. The Voyages are all good. I really don't like the Micromasters for the most part. I'm still going to collect all of them. I know that will happen, too. They're very much the Prime Masters for me, where I didn't really like them, but I collected them all. I think the Battle Masters are more exciting, but there's tons of reasons to think the complete opposite about those 2 price points. But the Deluxes are all real solid in Wave 1, same for the Voyagers. I was astonished, actually, that I felt really good about all 4 Deluxes. I was really harping on Hound ever since Toy Fair, and then I transformed him, and it was like, this transformation keeps going, and it's good! And then he became kind of my favorite standalone Deluxe out of Wave 1. Any third-party figures I'm particularly excited for coming up? Everything Magic Square is doing that isn't that big Optimus Prime, because I recently caught up on their pocket scale stuff through some eBay coupons, and holy crap, Magic Square's pocket scale stuff is like everything I thought DX9 Warren Pocket was going to be when I got Gartanel and Speedo. And those 2 are, I think, the best Warren Pocket toys. I think they went downhill from there. And Magic Square is like all that promise realized, for my taste anyway. But other than that, there's actually some third-party movies. I'm really looking forward to the Unique Toys Movie 5 Megatron, because I just like that design. Ocular Max RC is the next review I'm doing, but it's the stealth version. She's still here. I've recorded the audio for her. I'm making progress. This time there's more positive reasons why this is taking forever. It's because I've actually gotten busy with non-toy stuff off and on. And it's for positive reasons. So the next thing I got to do, I filmed all of her vehicle mode footage as well. That's why the guns are there. So I need to film the transformation and the articulation and the robot mode, and then all the fancy shots. So I am still really sure I'll get that done before the new year, and I would like to. I owe my patron. I feel I owe it to my patrons to get a video I would actually ping the charge patrons button on each month, and then B, I should do that so that I actually get paid off Patreon each month. That's what the reason my Patreon's set up to be per video is not necessarily because I want to make bajillion dollars by making a bajillion videos, but it means that I have to actually put up a video that I then click the charge patrons button to actually make any Patreon money each month, as opposed to it just being a monthly thing where I just get the money no matter what happens. It just makes me feel like there's a certain extra bit of oversight, and that there's like, there's a quantification to it. In Patreon's system, you can set a limit. So basically, you can say $2 a video, and then you set your limit per month to $2. That means you're basically a $2 a month patron, but a video has to go up that warrants the $2. Granted, I'm the one who chooses if a video warrants it, but so far I feel I've been pretty fair about it. Like if it's a vlog, I don't do it. If it's a stream, I don't do it. Interviews I do, because interviews I feel are actually an expenditure of time, skill, and editing. And so far no one's like gotten mad about that. But the idea is any review would ping that, and most any V-build has pinged that. I missed a bunch of chat while I was talking about myself. Endertrot, before he closes off, I tried to ask you twice before, but you sadly missed it. What are your thoughts on the Ocular Max Remix Convention 2-pack? I know I'm in the minority of liking Howlback. Those are the Cobalt Sentries, I believe you mean. I like those, but I like those molds a lot. I've never really been attached to the colors, but I love the Ocular Max Remix line in general. I've really enjoyed all three molds. So I like them on that basis more so than, you know, who they are, but... I liked it. I kind of wish I hadn't bought all of it at TFCon, because the Ocular Max Remix exclusives certainly did not, you know, become hard to find afterwards, and I was like, I didn't need to spend all that money in one weekend. I could have parsed that out a bit more in hindsight. But yeah, I like them. I'm not, like, backflipping for them, but... for Spring, and I also really wish they sold packs of just those effect parts. Those are my favorite bits of the Battle Masters, if I'm being honest. There was a who boy that last paragraph, but I don't remember what that's in relation to anymore. It's at the top of the chat scroll. I would recommend Siege Hound entirely based on just how good a Transformer it is, less so than, you know, whether or not it's a good Hound or etc. It's a really good deluxe Transformer, in my opinion. But I'm very tactile oriented. I've said in those panels I need to keep editing and putting up. A good transformation goes a really long way for me. What else am I missing? You find keeping your hand in the same space when filming a jump cut and such really hard? Picky Peeves asks. Yes, it is. So I cheat a lot. So far, most people don't catch me when I cheat. So good for me. It's actually not like if my hand's in motion for those jump cuts, it's actually really easy to do. You just have to make sure your hand is occupying a similar space in the frame, because you're editing the illusion of motion, which, if you know how that works frame by frame, makes it easier to do than if I was going to, like, hold something and then have it jump cut to disappear out of my hand. Whereas if the jump cut is when I'm doing that, I have all of these frames to find two frames that look like the same motion sequentially. I do test a lot, though, and sometimes it takes me a while to find those frames. But I get satisfied doing those jump cuts. They feel like the jump cuts feel like a thing that are like, yes, this is my vocation that I'm good at, and this is proof of it. Hooray for me. Both this and the new Bakugan games look really fun. Have I seen any vids from the preview event? I haven't seen anything for the new Bakugan game. Me and Bakugan was, I thought magnet ball transformers were cool, and then I got one that combined, and I messed with it for a day, and I was like, I have scratched this itch. I still have that thing. It's in my storage unit. I don't know what to do with it. About Carrot Gear, about the battle damage. I still think the battle damage looks pretty bad on the Voyagers, but I was astonished how much I was into it on the Deluxes. Not for being battle damage, but because on my copies at least, and I found out from my other podcasters I might have gotten lucky, on all four of my Deluxes, the bits that are quote-unquote battle damage just look like dry-brushed gunmetal paint highlights, and it ended up looking really sharp on mine, and I ended up really liking it. Not as battle damage, I should, to really clarify it, but through happenstance, it ended up looking like someone did a decent, minor custom paint job. Oh, Bakugan's going full proper card game. I don't really have much connection to Bakugan outside of my thinking the magnets were cool, so that's kind of outside my wheelhouse. That's neat. I hope it's a good game. I know I should probably close the stream up sometime soon, but I really like just looking at the chat and responding to it. Don't mind me. There's still 47 of you in here apparently, so I'm getting all. I'm probably gonna thud out at some point, but I'm getting all jazzed, and I guess there's caffeine in Coke, so I suppose that's helping. For Springin', it's your favorite part of the streams too, to be honest. Yeah. It's kind of my favorite. I like having the stream having a purpose, but then I also like ending on these things, because I also figure, hey, if someone's running the stream in the background, it's kind of like, hey, you thought it was over, but if you had this running while you were trying to fall asleep, this part's even sleepier. This part's even better for rolling you off to dreamland. We just gotta do a little bit of that. Talk really close to the mic and use lots of consonants. Do I think War for Cybertron Part 2 will continue with the battle damage thing? I don't know. I actually honestly don't know. I think we'll know when we see what it looks like. Um, it's really hard to say because there's not really like they don't really have time to like react to opinions of the battle damage, and even then, technically all the opinions we have on the battle damage is the English speaking market. We have no idea what Japan, or at least as far as I know, no one. I've not heard anything about how the Japanese fandoms responded to the battle damage, and I don't know if like, you know, looking at the reactions halfway through wave 1 means that they would be able to apply that to like maybe the back end of part 2 of that toy line. I'm trying to pirate that Nazi zombie movie J.J. Abrams did while you ramble in the background. You're an accomplice to my sin. Oh, no! When the movie police come for you, they're going to be like, who caused this? And you're going to be like, it was him! And they're like, he just seems to be talking about trading cards, sir. I think you're going to have to come with us. Okay, now it's... Oh, that's when I did my consonants thing, I bet you. Will Japan get the card game? They're big on MTG. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they've printed this card game in anything but English. So, I guess if it came out there, it would be printed in English. Which I guess could still work. I honestly don't know. Yeah, Mechanova King's been in the stream the whole time. I've been yelling at him. The nice thing is, they have the chat replay thing now on YouTube, and I'm so happy about that because it lets me remember if these streams go into archive. Well, when they go into archive, it means you can actually tell what I was reacting to without me having to do some kind of monotonous, horrifyingly long edit job to splice the chat in, which was fun a few times, but it meant those V-Build streams took like 18 hours to render, and then like 2,000 people would look at them, and it's like, this doesn't add up at all. Commander Matt says, Vangelus, make me Hot Pockets, I'm really hungry. Unfortunately, I can't make you food remotely without causing immense amounts of danger to the structure of your living space. I've checked with the proper authorities. Do I ever do anything in the stream with eating terrible microwave food? I could, but like right now when I do streams, it's usually late enough at night that like I don't really want to eat food. I'm still doing these kind of fly-by-night, kind of off the cuff, off of the lapel of my jacket. They're sort of bouncing off of the clink of my cufflinks, you might say. You want to add a third-party... I thought that was an M. It's not. Otaru Masamune. I'm getting ready to add a third-party RC to my shelf. Recommendations. If you want one that looks G1-ish, the Ocular Max one is the only one that I think is really any good. Partly because its transformation is sublime, and it leads to a decently articulated RC who looks pretty good. I'm still going over if I want to tweak all of my incredibly unpassive aggression towards Fans Toys Rouge. Is it Rouge or Rogue? I honestly can't remember now. The Fans Toys one. The last paragraph of my Stealth Azalea review gets real harsh. I'm thinking of dialing back one sentence in it, now that I've said it out loud and recorded it. I'm still not sure. I don't like that toy very much. I don't think it's very good, and I think the reasons why people like it are interesting, but I would never say that they're worth actually going for it. The only positive that toy has that I've parsed out that I don't think is wrong is that its hips are cleaner. That's the last sentence of the Azalea review. Oh, but the hips are cleaner, aren't they? Because it's like, yes, the hips are cleaner. I guess if that's the most important thing. Did you ever say what kind of RC you wanted? I didn't catch it. Because, I mean, MMC also did the very Alex Milne looking RC. That one's, I still like transforming that one, but if anyone hates transforming it, I can't yell at them, because it probably is horrible for them to transform. It's very complicated. But yeah, the guy who did the design on Ocular Max RC, he did an interview even where he talked about his thoughts on transformation from the work he did on official Transformers and, for instance, animated Deluxe Bumblebee. And I was like, this guy gets transformation in the way that I like it. And boy, does it come through on that Ocular Max RC. QC on the Siege stuff. Mine's been okay. The only thing on QC-wise on Siege that gave me a pause was some of COG's peg and hole connections didn't seem alright, but then, like, after I complained about them, they started feeling better. And I know that the toy can't have heard my complaints, but I'm not sure what happened. I was like, maybe, I guess maybe there was some mold release that dried up. But yeah. So my last stream, by the way, I kind of, also, I once again backhanded the fans' toys take on RC a bunch in light of that stupid chest upgrade that sucks. The Firebird RC, it's kind of like the boob part on it is disappointing because I think it's stupid. The rest of the design seems fine, but also it's like a bunch of art and a CAD model. I just don't, with third-party toys, unless it's a proven company, if that's all they have to show, I'm kind of like, it's interesting, but I don't think there's anything to say until it's actually exists as a physical piece. Otherwise, like, yeah, I mean, they're going for a very unique aesthetic, which I do appreciate in third-party stuff. I like it whenever third-party pieces don't try to fit into a slot of official toys. I just think, like, the straight-up, like, reveal the boobs function is kind of like, shut up. Stop being 14 years old in 1998. Toy Story Logic. Yeah, Toy Story Logic on my cog. If you can only afford one Siege... Okay, so if you can only afford one, does that mean you can afford a Voyager, is my first question. Because, like, if you can only afford one, I was going to say, well, Hound is kind of just you get a bit of everything and it's all good. But then, like, if you can afford a Voyager, then I'd say do the Optimus Prime. If you find Optimus Prime's boring, I'd still say do the Optimus Prime. He's really darn good. Okay, so for deluxes, I think Hound gives you the most as a one-shot package. There's a case to be made for all four, though. And, like, when I say Hound is the one who's the most one-shot package, I'm not saying he's the best one, I guess, is how I would put it. It's kind of like, if you like the way one of them looks more than the other three, you wouldn't be making the wrong choice by picking it up. If you're going to only pick up Cog by himself, I'd say maybe consider what you're doing, because a good 30% of his functions are based on another toy using him. Okay, so if you have Battle Trap, I'm guessing you're really looking at Skytread, Flywheels. That is a good toy. For some, that is the best in the wave. There's the only thing about him that I found wrong was that his tank turret doesn't like to go into the middle socket of the tank mode very well, but there are two other sockets and the gun can split in half, so it kind of fixes itself, Oh, sorry, Darcy G, that new Black Arachnia, do you mean the one, is that Transform Elements who showed that one? Because I have a very specific problem with that one, and it's my tastes. When they showed her in the case, there were also 3 chunks of her spider mode abdomen, like, sitting on the floor in front of her robot mode, and I didn't see them anywhere on the robot mode, and I was like, oh, that's how she transforms. And it kind of lost me, to be honest. I'm not saying everyone should just write the toy off for that, it's just like, for me, I was like, I am a lot less interested now. Also, yes, Carrot Gear makes a good point. Cog can also tear off his own arm and use it as a gun, which is pretty friggin' metal. And Cog is also technically a duocon, because even if you to get to his combined vehicle mode, he still splits into 2 vehicles that then relink together. So he does stuff, Yeah, he's the 3rd duocon. He is a duocon and a battle master the size of a deluxe. Also, yeah, the Siege boxes have great artwork. I hope... I mean, I've said this now several lines in a row and it never happens, but I hope they make an art book. It's really good art. Studio Volta, I believe, are still working on the art. They deserve the recognition. I didn't really say anything about Sideswipe, but Sideswipe is completely solid as well, I should say. It's just like, Sideswipe is like a perfect middle-of-the-road toy, not as an insult. It's like, he is like the perfection of flip out legs, extend arms, fold hood down. Like, he does that, but, like, streamlined with 35 years of experience, if that makes any sense. Silver League Networks. I would not be mad to see some of the box art repurposed for TCG cards. I would absolutely not be mad if it was alternate art. Like, I'd be even less potentially mad, and I wouldn't be mad anyway. Like, I love new art, but I'm like, also that box art is all good. If it gets reused for the card game, it's like, oh no, they used more good art, you know? I can actually show this one. Clearly, boobs does not set off the chat filter, so it must have been butt. Hey, welcome to the stream where we deduce what genital and body part and crevice words set off the YouTube filter. So which is worse, Firebird RC boobs or Flame Toys Windblade butt? Firebird RC boobs on the surface are worse because they're just really friggin' stupid. I'm definitely like, when it comes to that stuff, I'm way more harsh on it when it's RC, because RC spent about 25, 30 years as the one Transformer that was, hey look, it's RC, but she's Uma Thurman on the cover of Pulp Fiction. Hey look, it's RC, but she's Princess Leia on the cover of Star Wars. Hey look, it's RC, but she's sticking her gun up her butt or something. Like, ever since the late 90s, it's always been, I'm gonna be a teenage boy, and I really want to masturbate, and there's one girl Transformers, and now I get to put my two interests together. So, like, for RC, it's like there's a legacy of this that I find more and more irritating, and then the cherry on top is the personal bias that she's also my mom's favorite Transformer, and my mom also, like, just gets embarrassed by this stuff, and she really likes being a fan as well. For the Flame Toys Windblade, to be honest, I think the art style is quite beautiful. I think that the artwork is very well done. I like that Flame Toys' Furai model line is going artist first. The things that let me down are, I think the butt's really stupid. Like, the butt cheeks have got eye pupils that are looking up at the wedgie. Like, I can't not see it. Speaking personally, the thing that actually really kills it for me, I hate platform heels aesthetically. I despise them. And that Windblade has, like, platform heels on platform heels. I just hate it. I really hate it. I do think a lot of that art aesthetic is actually really cool. From the waist up, that design is, like, neat. As an artist version of Windblade being made in an artist focus model kit line, I'm like, no, I mean, yeah, sure. I still would much rather have seen, and I mean, they're doing IDW versions of characters they've already done with artists doing their versions first, like that Optimus and that Starscream and the Bumblebee and the Megatron. So, you know, I would rather see Sarah Stone or Sarah Petra Durocher's Windblade, because I think that those are the quintessential Windblades, and I think that that's the place where they are going to most likely happen. That Windblade, it doesn't bug me that much. I just think it looks really stupid, but, like, I'm not going to tell people not to be bugged by it, because, like, that Windblade doesn't represent, like, me. This was put really well by other people. It doesn't represent me, so my perspective on it is also, like, deadened to a certain point. The only thing I would stand up for at all is that, like, it's a questionable art style that's happening in an art-focused model kit line, which, on a broad strokes level, I'm into. I just think that piece of artwork's not all that great, and it is the butt, and less so the butt, but the butt. Hang on, let me say that again. How many times did I say butt? Less so the buttocks, but still the posterior, the heels, not even the heels, the platform heels on platform heels, like, annihilate it for my aesthetic tastes. But as I was saying, like, that's also not representing me at all. I don't think that thing is part of the horrifying, hairy-palmed, I wanna friggin' masturbate thing that is literally human boobs buried inside an RC toy, or swap in human boobs to hide on your other RC toy. But I think that I don't think it actually was aware of the, how do you put this? Not the candor. It wasn't aware of the conversation in the room at the time, but it certainly arrived with terrible timing that did it no favors. And I don't blame anyone who finds it just completely off-putting and horrific. Because also, like I said, the butt cheeks have little eyeballs that are looking up at the wedgie. Oh, good. Hotaru Masamune wrote it down for me. Less so the butt, but the butt. Just put that on my tombstone. Less so the butt, but the butt. That's. I didn't even mean to. Remember that time Chris said less so the butt, but the butt? Also, yeah, like for Spring, like you were saying, it's concept art. I've come to understand the artist Bond, like the whole stylistic thing. Aside from the butt as well, is very much his style. There are that artist has a lot of fans who are really jazzed to see that artist getting involved in Flame Toys' art stuff. I think the notion of an artist who's not necessarily working on official stuff, but who is beloved as a fan artist, getting to work on something that's going to be done as a physical model is super cool. I've seen it said, unfortunately, in the conversation, it's kind of like this isn't really helping the conversation, but like, if we all turn off being human for a second, which is asking a lot of everybody, because we actually are humans, unfortunately, that is concept art. It is still Hasbro licensed third-party line of model kits. I'm not saying that 100% chance it'll happen, because they definitely have, like, encouraged people to be weird with their third-party license, the official one. But there's a perfectly good chance that thing's going to go through another revision where they're like, at least, you know what, if you got to leave the platform heels, I get it. I get that that's my problem. But, like, if that design just gets, like, a plate put on the butt, I think that would be huge. That sentence sounded weird. But anyway, a revision that gives it a normal butt will probably help a whole lot. This is a weird conversation. Every time I think that I'm like, nah, we're gonna get this evened up. We're gonna bring this back on the level. Anyway, more about the butt. Let's talk more about butts. I mean, that whole conversation did make me think, like, you know, there is this weird, like, thin line of buttock aesthetic, of anal imagery, where it's like, you know, it's really the line of the pant, right? Like, if it's, like, superhero trunks, and then I was thinking about it, because I was like, okay, superhero trunks, I don't care about. Like, thing that looks like it's entered the butt crack and then come out again on both sides, I find just kind of gross looking in general, like on a medical level. So, like, I was like, all right, where's my line? And then I was in the bathroom doing some work, because this is when you think about these things. I was doing some work and then going to the bathroom, not doing the work in the bathroom. I'm not that well off yet. And I was like, I think that my line is, if it looks like it's clenching the buttock comfortably, because, you know, lots of good underpants have a lot of good support, front and back. They clench your butt nice and comfortable and hold everything in, but not too tight. Just they clench it. I'm like, yeah, I think that's also where in art and in superhero robot design, that's where I'm comfortable. And then when it looks, the more that it creeps into the crevice, the more that it like enters the poop zone, the more that the clothing disappears beneath the folds of the flesh, the less I like it. Because also, every time I see that, I start thinking, like, what if someone, like, shoved a piece of cloth in my butt so hard that it looked like the cloth was coming out of the top and bottom of my butt? And I'm like, that probably would just make me feel real gross. Because also, like, holy crap, when I take those pants off, what the hell's it gonna look like? You know? That thing's rubbing against a colon a whole bunch. Command for Matt, I'm eating, please do not mention the poop zone. Folds is Jason Sawyer. Folds is a low-key, icky word, like moist. Anyway, I was about to say to my credit, but no, I have no credit in this. If it helps at all, this conversation is also not really limited to Transformers. It's just in butt crack representation in art in general. It's definitely one of those things where, what's that phrase I heard that I think sounds really stupid? I don't want to yuck your yum. You should punch people who say that, by the way. I super don't get how that's attractive at all. But, you know, everyone's got their own thing. Don't worry. No, Fred Ball 392. Lord, I'm so sorry for starting this. You know what? I think it's a defense mechanism of mine. It's like, let's talk about an uncomfortable thing. And I'm like, all right, uncomfortable thing. What if I make it worse? Then maybe they won't ask me anymore. But don't feel bad about asking it. It's fine to ask me that. I didn't talk about it too much on Twitter outside of like one tweet where I talked about all the Flame Toys stuff. I'm jazzed about the Kurokawa Kuri line still. And some of Furai model I've kind of been skipping because I just don't have time to build model kits, really. I know that because I have at least 12 unbuilt model kits, and I'm like, if I buy more, they're on the pile. Yeah, I didn't talk about it too much on Twitter, partly because of that whole thing where it's like, it's not really, like, attacking me at all, really, I guess? Not attacking, is that the right word? Anyway, it felt like if I weighed in on it, it'd be like, I'm like, listen, I know you all were talking, but now it's time for my opinion. And let me tell you something about let me tell you something about my boundaries of crevice entry in clothing design. I didn't think it would really help anybody, so I was like, all right, well. Otoro Masamune, saving the Q&A session. What's your favorite... See, I know that's not the tone. I'm reading this as, like, you're doing that thing. Here's my hand again. You're doing that thing where you're going, like, in front of your neck. Where you're, like, you know, huge wide eyes, gritted teeth. Anywho, Vangelus, what's your favorite super robot design? In which case, oh man, I had a good answer for this before. I change my mind on favorite super robot all the time. Gao is one of my favorite super robots, not like one of my favorite super robot designs I've come to learn after buying many toys of him, and I always feel kind of like, this is cool, but something feels off, and it's like, I don't think I like his design as much as I like what he represents, I guess. I really like Shin Getter. Like, Shin Getter just kind of hits it all for me. Shin Getter is like if you took everything good about Extreme 90s and then, like, layered it up so it was like, it's just like a cake made entirely of icing. That's Shin Getter. Do I have any thoughts about Eva being put on Netflix? I might finally watch it! I mean, I've watched End of Evangelion back when it came out because I found a fan sub and I was like, it would be funny if I just watched this. I've always meant to watch it. I actually really like Hideaki Anno a lot entirely for reasons that have nothing to do with Evangelion. I just like him as a creator. I like his... I was gonna say, and I do, I like his attitude about creating stuff, bearing in mind how much of it is couched in his own coping with depression. But I don't know, I appreciate the way he comes at stuff. I really like Shin Godzilla. I like the stories of how he forced the crew to work hard on that movie, because there are a lot of Japanese IP films that come out that I feel get really phoned in on a production level. And I was worried Shin Godzilla would be that. I also love Hideaki Anno as a member of the homeroom crew in Nice no Mori, Funky Forest, one of my favorite movies none of you have ever seen, where Hideaki Anno just plays part of a homeroom of high schoolers, and he's just Hideaki Anno in a high school uniform sitting at the front of the class. He doesn't even have any lines, but he's just there at the very front so you see him. He's great in that movie. I missed a bunch of things. I watched One Punch Man. I watched the anime on Netflix. I liked it. I know it's a good manga as well. I liked the anime and I watched that instead. What's my favorite mech butt design? The Last Night Megatron has one of the best buttocks in all of Super Robots. PKP's like what he did with Shin Godzilla as well. I have not seen Shinkalion. I've just seen all the clips of the guest robots on Shinkalion, and I kept thinking, like, man, these Japanese fan artists working on fan art cartoons are getting real good at this. That's how I felt when I saw the one with, like, Shinji from Evangelion guesting on Shinkalion. I never actually watched Shinkalion. I don't know if I'd be able to go through, like, a kids show toy commercial anime right now. I tried to go through Super Sentai series for the last couple of years, and, like, right now I don't want to make the time commitment. I just watch bits and pieces. There's another one hidden. Oh, this one just hit it because you dropped the F-bomb. That's stupid. Come on. You let us say boob. But you're gonna, and you let us say like half of the words for penis, but not the other half. You let us say half the words for butt, but not the other half. Yeah, this chat filter does not feel like it is in line with my brand. Oh my god, I'm on fire. I still find the fact that Flametoe's got a famous aero-gay artist to do flamed Windblade's design hilarious in so many levels. Like, when I was talking about, in the last stream, about the chest piece, I was like, I don't want to say there's no place for that, for that kind of artwork in fan art. It's not my thing, but, like, there is a place for that stuff, in my opinion. It's all, to me, it's kind of about the delivery and the attitude, but I can never tell anyone else to take that the way I do. It's just, that's how I explain my own reactions. It's why, like, a lot of the way I react to stuff, every now and then, people in my life have tried to logic out why I like things and don't like other things, and then get kind of frustrated when I do like one thing or really don't like another thing based on other things I like or don't like. And, like, there's a whole lot about intent with me, which is very hard to quantify, and you could just say I'm making it up. I don't feel I am, but I don't know how to better explain it. I kind of come down on fans' toys a lot. I feel fans' toys' intent on a lot of their toys is very cynical. They want your money to fill a slot on your shelf, and I feel like their toys say that to me on a toyetic level, in a way I just dislike greatly. I started watching Lupat. I watched the first 3 episodes and thought it was cool, but then, like, it fell into the same hole as Ghost. I've spent 2 years going through Ghost very slowly, and I'm not dropping Ghost because I dislike it either. I always end my little Ghost marathons really satisfied. It's just a time commitment thing. I'm very bad at wanting to commit time to watching whole shows right now. Oh, if you mean, sorry, Wave Sign, if you mean Shinkalion taking a lot of cues from Gao in lampshading some of its toy commercialness, I got that impression from the clips that were flying all over Twitter. But like, my reaction was positive, but it was also me kind of going like, I think I saw all the bits that I would like the most. And then I kind of left it alone. Nothing against it. It's just, like I said, it's the way I've been dealing with shows in general right now. Like, there's a lot of good shows I just haven't watched yet. Also, because, like, if everyone tells me to watch a show, then, like, the way my dumb brain works is I can't watch it until a few months later. Because, like, if I go, oh, everyone said to watch it, I better go watch it. Then, like, it's not even that I'm, like, over analyzing the show or I'm holding it to too high a degree. It's just, like, when I watch it, I feel like I'm under orders to, and that affects my ability to enjoy it. That's a problem with me just in general and in life. I really hate feeling like I'm being given orders. Whenever I've worked a cashier type job, it's definitely made it problematic that I very much want to feel like a collaborator more so than a foot soldier. I had a theater cashier job once where I got along with everyone really well except for exactly one manager, and I'm pretty sure it was because I kept talking to the manager guy like we were buddies. Whenever we're on the clock, I was completely like, no, tell me to do something, I'll do it. But the moment the clock was over, I was like, yeah, man, whatever. Huh. Anyway, gonna go work that second job across the street where I'm making 3 times the money here. Because I was working a temp job with the environmental assessment office as well. That probably didn't help either. I thought he was into it. He was a weirdo. That dude. When I say weirdo, I mean, I never got fired. He just stopped calling me in, and then I talked to the couple people I knew who were there, and he's like, yeah, you sort of suddenly mutated into 3 teenage girls that manager really loves to give hands-on training to. And I was like, it's real gross. I watched how he was talking to the other teenage girls who were working here. That was super gross too. It was all super gross. Little glimpses into the Chris life of old. Later on, my friend who was still working there when he was quitting, they let him like borrow the theater after midnight to just run some movies. So I just showed up because I was like, yeah, we're gonna watch Mechanical Violator Hokkaido because it's one of the best movies ever, and I've never seen it on a theater screen, so I got to do that. But like, I was super friendly to that manager guy, and boy, that guy looked like he thought I was gonna friggin' just pull out a lead pipe and try to like write a letter on his brain with his brains using the lead pipe as a pen. That was prolonged. That was fun, though. The very few times in life that I feel like I'm scaring somebody who I also dislike, those are times to cherish. Don't do something actually scary, just cherish the unintentional intimidation of those you don't enjoy the company of. But yeah, Black Hawk Omega, I would agree. Like criticisms of Ghost, I'm like, there's a lot of rider shows where I'm kind of like, a lot of criticisms are true, or at least not ones that I would like try to refute. But like Ghost is, I wouldn't say is my favorite show, but like, it's never really done anything super wrong. Like it did a couple things where I was like, tokusatsu, but like, it's been fine. Like there's bits where I felt like it was kind of dragging its feet. There's some of the directing I was making fun of when I was watching it, but that other shows have had directing like that too. Two people, bump into each other, share a harsh glance, and then you cut to a shot where they're having a conversation, right? Except they're standing. Let me illustrate this. So it's like the shots like this. One of them is standing here. The other one walks in. Oh my. And then you cut to a conversation where it's a close-up on the one talking now, but they're in a different location, except they're standing, like, this far apart. And I just sat there going, like, in real life, if you're also talking to each other like this, real menacingly, I'm like, you're standing 30 feet apart from each other. Like, you'd have to be screaming at each other for this conversation to be happening. I don't know. It was one of those things that really, like, it was only early on in the show. It was often, it was Alan and Spectre would have those conversations, and I would just be like, it's another conversation where they're not looking at each other and they're 30 feet apart. And I wasn't mad. I was just like, I'm having a laugh. But the Ganma World stuff, I didn't, given how everyone talked about that show when it was airing, I had no idea any of that was even in the show, and that completely locked me in. And then a lot of people said, like, well, you're in the good part right now. And then I was like, how's that bad that I'm in the good part? If that means the rest of the show isn't all that great, that's fine, but I'm still watching the good part. Because, like, how do I put this? Like, there's a lot of, apparently, I actually don't see a lot of it, I guess, because I'm just not catching the conversations. Like, I've been told by folks who do like it, that they're like, oh, it's so nice that you like Zeo, because so many people I know really hate it. And I'm like, I mean, I can see reasons why people might not like it, but, like, Zeo's fine. I think part of it for me is also I have opinions on how time travel stories should work, which is that Zeo is a perfect example of how they should work. Time travel in fiction should be super loosey-goosey and driven by the narrative. Because in my opinion, every time time travel tries to come up with like hard sci-fi logic, that is the first step to the show just imploding on itself. Because time travel isn't real, aside from the span of normal time. So while other hard sci-fi science isn't real, trying to come up with the realism of time travel, I came to realize, is like a doomed argument from step one. So time travel is conceptual, like, kind of full stop. And then the cool stuff that happens often is the concept, less so than the hard science of how it works. But also, like, complicated time travel that also barely explains itself always makes sense to me. So, like, everything in Zeo has made complete sense to me. Like, I'm not even kidding. As an example, like, this isn't to kill my own argument, but, like, another time travel thing I really genuinely enjoyed, and you gotta listen to the entire sentence when I say this. I really liked the first, like, 20 minutes of Terminator Genesis. Then the movie got super boring. But the part of the movie where Terminator Salvation's ending, so it's the ending of Terminator Salvation leading into the beginning of Terminator 1, but then Terminator 1 gets invaded by Terminator 2, 3, and 5. And the part that makes it work is A, how ballistically fast it's happening, but then B, that Kyle Reese, the character, looks like he's aware his entire story's being taken away from him. And I loved that. But then they land in the quote-unquote present, and I was like, oh, what's going to happen? And then they spent the rest of the movie there, and I got super bored. The only other thing I ended up liking was, like the bit when they reveal Old Man Arnold's just been, like, standing somewhere for 30 years was kind of funny. And then, like, you know, Matt Smith as Skynet I liked because I've always believed Skynet should just be a cartoonish supervillain. But that was like maybe 10 minutes of funny stuff in like an hour and plus. I don't even remember the final fight scene because it was super boring. And then like, spoilers for Terminator Genesis. There's a bit at the end where they are way too proud of themselves for going like, what if Arnold became liquid metal? And it's like you telegraphed it like 45 minutes before it happened. And like, it's just like, it's like you lit the candles in a birthday cake and you want me to be excited that you lit the candles, you know? Like, so Genesis invaded itself because Genesis, the movie, invaded Terminator 1. You see, the opening act of the movie, after the little bit at the beginning, is just Terminator 1 is happening, but then Terminator 2 shows up to attack Terminator 1. And then Terminator 3 launches itself into Terminator 1 as well, and then Terminator 5 shows up and shoots them all into the present. I don't know, because Terminator 5 is the old Arnold to a degree. Terminator 3 is kind of the old Arnold. Terminator 2 is the Asian T-1000. Terminator 5, I would say, is Genesis's Sarah Connor. They're all invading Terminator 1, and I love it, because it's like this is where a fifth part of a time travel story should go, is the newer movies are now just invading the older movies, and it feels oppressive. It feels like an aggressive invasion of the older movies, and I loved it. But like I said, it was 20 minutes of real fun stuff, and then it just petered out super hard, and it was just so boring afterwards. But I was on a plane, so I fell asleep. It was really, actually, no, I didn't. I saw most of it, but I don't remember it. Maybe I fell asleep. I don't know. Christopher Davis, is one of those cardboard or card boxes you have there, and does it hold deck boxes? Oh, you mean this thing, the quiver? It can hold some deck boxes. The Transformers Ultra Pro ones are just like the plastic ones. It can hold those. I got not an Ultra Pro one, but it's the same dimensions. It's like these things, like, you know, these types. These will fit in here. Get out. Yeah, like that fits inside. You probably can't have anything up there in the netting, but that'll still fit inside. Or if it's like an 80 count, it won't be as wide, so it'll be a bit shorter. Man, Vangelus, why are you still awake? We're springing because we're all having fun talking. Shh. It's kind of that. I am eyeballing the time, but on the bright side, I have less to do tomorrow than I had to do today. And this will make for an interesting archive. Well, we're only just over 3 hours. I think the first Boostershred stream hit the 3-hour mark, so we're on brand. Opinion on tandem targeting system and all-out attack. I think all-out attack's cool. I tried to build it into a deck, and it just never came up, and I never missed it. Tandem targeting system is cute, but people who have ran dupes of it said it literally did nothing amazing. It's just an upgrade that can recycle itself. Is not all that amazing, though. They're not worth chasing down. I've never sat there going, oh, I wish I had 2 or 3 of these. I've literally only ever made one deck where I was like, oh, all-out attack can fit in this deck. Verspringen, have you considered shredding any cards you don't like, as in with a shredder? No. I feel too guilty about shredding all the artwork and the printing and the ink. I'm just like, no, this has to go. I just can't throw cards out. You know, I'll try to sell them in bulk to people. I'll use them as packing material maybe, but like destroying them, like I just can't. I'm like, no, someone printed this. This artwork is artwork. I feel too guilty. Good night, Schleage. Flamethrower or grenade launcher depends on the deck. Like, if basically, like the easy equation is, if you're building for bold, flamethrower. If you're building for attack value, grenade launcher. That probably didn't help. That probably didn't help, but like that kind of is my answer. How hot's my phone right now? It's not all that hot. It's this fan is really helping. Not having the fan on before, I think, really was causing some trouble on like a 10-degree level. Gabator, you should try running. You should just agree with your opponent that it's cool. Get one more Flame War, and then run a deck that's 5 Flame Wars, because she adds up to 25 points if you run 5 of them. Just see what it's like to play with 5 Flame Wars. Like, that's one of the nice things about this. Like, and I kind of like that, like, a lot of people who like this game and who are thinking about it on a high level are also really into the part where, for the most part, it's not, a Pro Tour, 5-figure prize pot kind of game, because it means, like, there's no reason not to try playing silly. Faiz was the first full Kamen Rider series I ever watched. I watched it as TV Nihon. It was the first fan sub TV Nihon ever did, so I watched it as it aired. So it has a very special place to me. I really hate the ending, but aesthetically I think it's beautiful. I tried watching it again later, and it kind of didn't hold up for me very well. But aesthetically, I love it. I like a lot of the actors. I'm really happy that Faiz and Kai's actors are super into still doing tokusatsu stuff this many years later. Because when I got into tokusatsu, it was like while Ryuki was airing, so I was watching. Some other group did 2 fan subs of the first 2 episodes, and then we had the Hong Kong Japanese to Chinese to English fan subs that were on the bootleg DVDs, where you had stuff like Lawyer Bagan and Rion, and we had the Faiz ones where it was the Faiz girdle and the Kaisa girdle. Godzilla anime trilogy. I haven't watched it. To be honest, nothing against it. I just didn't really have the interest. I've never really been a kaiju fan. I like Shin Godzilla a lot, and I like the 1954 Godzilla a lot. I didn't like Final Wars when I watched it. I never watched it again. I should probably give it another chance. But I watched it a couple years within its release, and I truly was like kind of riffing on it about halfway through, and I was kind of like, I just don't really enjoy this. So I haven't checked out the Godzilla anime, but not for any like spiteful reason. It's just it wasn't on the radar enough for me to want to commit the time. Y'all will get mad if you know what I do commit the time to, though. Have y'all seen Netflix's show Nailed It, the best Netflix original series of 2018? I really like Nailed It. I didn't for the first 20 minutes of episode 1, but then I realized what that show was, and I fell in love with that show. So it's the one where they bring in people where the idea is they are very bad at baking, and they have to replicate a really well-made, complicated piece of confectionery. And so at first I was kind of like, this is just like one of those cooking shows. But then the more I watched the pilot, I realized that like some person with money saw the Nailed It hashtag and was like, we're going to make a show, and was really into this. No one working on the show thinks this is a good idea, and it shows, and it's great. Like, the show is so lax. It's like if I made a reality TV show. It's so laid back. They just don't give a flying F. I got so attached to the tone of that show. It's shot in a really nice studio, but like no one's there. They have like 3 crew members. Whenever they need something to show up on set, they just run the tape of the AD carrying it in, and they turn that into an in-joke in the show. The episode with my hero, the best person in cooking TV, Ron Ben Israel, is still the best episode of that show. It's amazing, that episode. Like, there's a bit where they hid a mistake until the chefs tasted the thing, and like they didn't go for reality. That show never goes for reality TV drama. That episode had everything. They hit a mistake that didn't pop up until the judges and the guest chef tasted the thing, and just went like, oh no, you did this. And then they just never let that guy forget it, but not in a mean way. I hate reality TV with forced drama, so like I really like Nailed It. I really like Cutthroat Kitchen, but Nailed It was just so. I love that show. It is one of the best attitudes I've ever seen. Ron Ben Israel's show, Sweet Genius, is probably the best confection TV ever made, and it's a crime that dude is now confined to being like a guest judge on all those garbage Cake Wars shows. I hate them. I've never seen Great British Bake Off. I've heard it was good. I've heard that I would probably like it because it's not, it might have drama, but it's not forced drama. But I just, Sweet Genius, nothing has ever topped that. Cutthroat Kitchen came close. Nailed It is on par with Cutthroat Kitchen in my opinion. I like things where the contestants don't hate each other, and where they seem to be getting in on how ridiculous the show is. Have I been playing Smash? I played someone else's Smash. It was the first time I played Smash since the original on N64, and I'm gonna buy Smash. I decided. I like the idea of getting good at a fighting game. I just haven't yet because I spent my money on other things. I can't possibly tell what. Yeah, Jeff saying this season of Great American Baking Show is awful because the host was kind of a bully, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to Alton Brown is the kind of caustic host I like on Cutthroat Kitchen because the contestants are into it. I don't want to see someone just feeling bad because the show says feel bad. Like, Netflix has another original show where the idea is you have a certain amount of hours to do 3 cooking challenges. Unused time carries forward. It's kind of neat. When you finish one project, you just move on to the next. But then, when all 3 round 1 projects are finished, they still eliminate someone, even if they're in the middle of working on round 2. And I'm like, I get it as a gimmick on paper, but as a viewer, I was like, I'm never watching this again. Episode 1, someone got cut off in the middle of round 2, and I was just like, that feels like you were not allowing me, the viewer, to enjoy the show. I'm done with this. This isn't fun. I'm not enjoying this at all. I'm actually irritated that you cut off that project. Also, the main host is straight up one of those like Orion Seacrest types that looks like he was poured out of a mold. Right down to the way he acts. Your phone isn't dead. Hello! Your phone isn't dead! No, it's not! Your phone is fine! Ah! Honoré! Hope that helped. Oh, so the host was like an ignorant, aggressive... That's even worse. I hate the hosts who are like, oh, what is this? And I hate that in general in reality TV. Like the whole like, whoa, and then some poor editor is like, now put in the goofy music. It's like don't, while someone's going like, what are you doing? And it's like you call it reality TV. You just made a friggin' bad cartoon. Anyway, I should probably wind down. But don't worry, I'm not opening my bots until I stream it, so I have to stream that at some point. I should do an extra live stream as well, damn it. I'll figure some stuff out. I just hope people aren't mad that I'm like falling into doing a bunch of streams and my reviews are slow, but like also it seems like those of you who are here for the streams are having fun, and at least like 5 or 6 people who watch the archives say that they enjoyed the archive, so like it's not a wholly negative thing. And yes, a bad host can single-handedly ruin an otherwise great show. The host on that you're cut off in round 2 show, like maybe with a better host I'd be into that show, but like it's him and friggin' Adrian Zumbo, who's like kind of a charisma vortex, which is weird because I liked his show, like the Zumbo's World or whatever Australian baking show, but like Zumbo as a guest, as a secondary host, he just turns into like this mouth on a body that eats the food and says some of it was good and some of it was bad, and like his personality just turns into a piece of paper, and like not a good piece of paper. So it's weird. I love Gordon Ramsay when they edit him to be normal. But like these money people are so intent on editing him to be like 1999 Gordon Ramsay, and it's just literally not him anymore, and it shows in the edit. I tried watching an episode of that 24 hours of Hotel Hell Nightmare Kitchen whatever, and I was like, this is like the most cynically edited Gordon Ramsay performance I've ever seen. Like, I could literally hear him not being this mean. I really like his YouTube channel, because it's him doing cooking videos with his kids. Gordon Ramsay with his kids is adorable. And yeah, the UK shows were great. I love UK Kitchen Nightmares. It's why I like Gordon Ramsay. I'm consistently irritated that they never went back to that potential. Like, Gordon Ramsay is like, oh, I kind of regret that I kind of rage quit and put the, he basically rage quit Kitchen Nightmares. He was in the position to make the call to cancel Kitchen Nightmares, and he's the one who did it, because he was like, nah, I'm sick of it. Kill it. And then, like, a year later, he basically was like, I kind of regret doing that. And I was like, my man, you're better off for it, because they were never going to let you be genuine on that show. But the butt. Don't ever let me forget that. I'm going to forget that, but that's so funny. Less so the butt, but the butt. All right, I'm going to probably check out too. So you all have a good night. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for putting up with my version of talking about, like, uncomfortable topics, which is like not looking at the chat and waving my hands and yelling a lot and like just like friggin' talking about butt cracks for like half an hour. Yeah, You, hey, 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 oh man, hang on. No, this is gonna be worth it. Okay, just hang on. This is gonna be really worth it. No, I should use the Sharpie. Hang on. No, it's gonna be worth it. Just wait. Hang on. It's friggin', all right. Let's do this, and then we go down here, and then we got ding, 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 and ring, 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 and then hit that. Yeah, then you'll know when the streams are happening. If you crush that bell, put it friggin' between your legs and just smash that bell. Chuck it at the wall until it says please stop, and you're like, no! Alright? just friggin' let it. Yeah, well. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.